Peace, family. I hope all is well. I hope your morning, afternoon, wherever you're at, I hope it is going well. Do me a favor, guys. Hit that like button as you come to the chat room. Again, please hit the like button as you come into the chat room, and also share, guys. There's a couple of, I guess, call to action, or you know, I don't know if you want to call them bullet points or requests. There we go. Requests that I asked for, humbly asked for, with please on top. So please, can you guys please, pretty please, hit the like button, share, and subscribe to the content. Again, hit the like button, share, and subscribe to the content. If you're new, shout out to Waiter Sniper in the chat room. Everyone, thank you for joining Search for Huru. Really means a lot because you guys could be doing something else at 1:21 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but you guys are here with me, and I am very thankful. If you have not, all right, so there's 44 of you guys watching right now. We just went live. Listen, if you have not, again, I don't ask you guys for much. I don't ask you guys for much. Again, I don't ask you guys for much. I'm never on here just begging, you know, begging for stuff. But if I am asking for something, is always something of value in return. So I say, hey, buy a shirt, you get a shirt. Because I know you guys obviously wear shirts. Buy a children's book, you get a children's book. Because I know you guys read. So, guys, I have a documentary out now. I have a documentary. Documentary is out. It's streaming at documentary.searchforhuru.com or go to searchforhuru.com. So there's now 70 of you guys watching. Listen, I need all 70 of you, if you have not, to go and purchase the documentary. I need all 70 of you to go and purchase the documentary. If you have not bought the documentary, I need you guys to go to searchforhuru.com. Again, searchforhuru.com and go and buy. Shout out everybody in the chat room. Go to searchforhuru.com and buy the documentary, please. I need everyone, everyone to buy the documentary if you have not bought the documentary yet. Hold on one second. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. There we go. So I need everyone to go to searchforhuru.com. There's 85 of you guys now watching. And after you hit that like button, I need you guys to purchase the documentary. If you have not bought the documentary yet, I need you, if you're watching this, to go to searchforhuru.com or just documentary.searchforhuru.com and buy the documentary. The reviews are coming in. And guys, I'm telling you, no one, as far as with their, and not to brag, I guess, but I don't think anyone has a unique story like mine when it comes to their connection or their experience in Africa. And it's all documented right here for everyone to see. So, I'm humbly asking everyone to please go and buy the documentary. And, I'm going to keep asking you guys every day, all day, before the stream, during the stream, and after the stream, to go and support the documentary, because I just think it's very important that, everyone who subscribes, who follows, should have a copy of this, because this pretty much sums up my journey so far, as far as my experience. Shout out to Ayana, beautiful flower, Nigerian goddess. In the chat room, Ayana has purchased the documentary, so she was one of the first to purchase the documentary. So there's now 100 of you guys watching. And Robert, have you bought the documentary? Have you bought the documentary, Robert? So again, I need everyone to spend that $10.99, not $11, not $10.98, and buy the documentary. And it's streamed through the site. So all you do is once you buy it, you set up a username and password. That's how you log in, and you can log in on any device that you want to and watch it forever. So once you buy it, it's yours, and just wherever you go, you just log in and you're able to view the documentary. But I need everyone who's watching this to buy the documentary. I greatly appreciate it. And I'm gonna remind you guys, the documentary is an hour and 25 minutes, I believe. Hour and 25 minutes. So yeah, so please go and buy the documentary. I greatly appreciate it. Even if it was 5 minutes, I would still want you guys to go buy the documentary. Like I said, I don't ask you guys for much, but I'm putting the emphasis on buying this documentary if you're watching this. Also, tours, got a couple tours coming up. We actually leave for Nigeria on Sunday. We leave for Nigeria on Sunday. I'm sorry, Monday, the 8th. I apologize. We leave on Monday. We're headed to Nigeria for the Oshun Festival, the Oshun Oshobo Festival, or Shobo Oshun Festival, Oshun Oshobo Festival, something like that. So we leave on Monday, headed to Nigeria. We're gonna have a great time in Nigeria. Brother Fabian, who's in the chat room, is going to be joining us in Nigeria. So looking forward to that experience. I know we're going to have a great time there in Nigeria. And then we're going to Sierra Leone in November. So if you'd like to join us in Sierra Leone for the citizenship ceremony, even if you're not eligible for citizenship, if you just want to go and join us in Sierra Leone, you're more than welcome to join us. But those citizenship is available to those who qualify. The main document that you need in order to qualify for citizenship in Sierra Leone, you got to have your African ancestry DNA results, which link you back to Sierra Leone. Again, you have to have your African ancestry DNA results, which link you back to Sierra Leone. Again, you have to have your African ancestry DNA results, which link you back to Sierra Leone, and then you are eligible for citizenship. But that's like the hard part, or everything else is pretty much downhill unless you got 100 million felonies. Then that's another story. But for the most part, get your DNA results, and hey, let's roll to Sierra Leone. They have not announced the ceremony for April yet, and I don't know what's going to happen, guys, because election year is next year. It's in June. Again, election year is in June, so we don't know what the future holds as far as the citizenship process. I'm pretty sure if BO gets reelected, it'll still continue, but if not, and a new party comes in, we don't know what's going to happen. So all I know is there's a ceremony in November, and you are more than welcome to roll. We would love to have you all join Donfo in Sierra Leone. We're going to have a good time. So go to visit Donfo, DANFO, Donfo, DANFO.Africa to join us again. Donfo, DANFO.Africa to join us. So yeah, but guys, get the documentary. I need Gary Johnson. I need you to get the documentary. It's an hour and 25 minutes long, hour and 30 minutes long. I know I made the joke saying if it's 5 minutes long, still buy it, but I think and I'll say this, I think the value and the information and the footage that I've brought to you guys here on YouTube for free, I think you guys buying a documentary for $10.99 is not asking for much. You know, I have the tours, I have the clothing, I have everything else, but I really, really want everybody to buy this documentary. So if you haven't bought it yet, go to searchforwho.com, searchforwho.com. Here you go. Hold on one second. Go to searchforwho.com. I'm sorry. Yeah, go to searchforwho.com. You're going to scroll down, click buy now. And then while you're there, you go ahead and buy the documentary. And like I said, it's yours for life. The documentary is yours for life once you have purchased it. And yeah, all that good stuff. You just stream it to the site, any device that you want to. And it's all good. As my track coach used to say, when I did good, he'll put his arms up like this and say, it's all good. So I need everyone to go and buy the documentary. I'm in Houston. I missed that. What you miss? But we failed to mention that in Houston, Texas, Nigerian struck an FBA beat black woman with his car, then beat her in the head with a metal pipe. Where's that story? Lucky, do me a favor. Post the link. Post the link in the chat room and of that story, because I didn't hear it. But yeah, post the link in the chat room. I did hear a story though of a Nigerian that I think he bought some, you know what, off the internet, off of OnlyFans or Instagram, because you know a lot of the sisters, some of our sisters are selling that, you know, that pootie tang on OnlyFans and Instagram now, a lot. And I think some Nigerian cat did, Igbo guy, or Nigerian, let me stop that. Nigerian guy did buy some pootie online. I think when the girl came in Houston, he murdered her, and I think he might have mutilated her, something crazy. But you know, it's unfortunate. So yeah, Gary. Yeah, it's fair. 1099, Gary, is very fair. Very fair for a documentary that you can purchase. 1099 is very fair and it's yours. So everyone go to documentary.com, search for who.com and buy the documentary. All right, let's jump into some of the topics. Guys, I'm not going to show the video of what happened, but there was a Nigerian immigrant who was slaughtered, murdered. Murdered in Italy in broad daylight. Let's see here. Killing in broad daylight. And this is on the Nigerian street vendor was killed in broad daylight. Yeah, well, CJ, that's the thing, man. I want to produce stuff. Like, I just don't want to be on here just begging, brother, give me money, give me money, give me money, give me money, give me money. Like, I want to exchange in value, you know. Like, if I ask you guys for something, it's like, rarely do I just ask for just random church fund money, you know. Like, I'm not always just asking randomly for church fund money. You know, it's like I usually want to give you guys something of value. Again, I usually want to give you guys, for the most part, something of value. So my thing is, I create a product and I need you guys to go support and buy it, because you guys are going to buy shirts anyway. You know, you guys are going to buy books to read to your children. I have a whole line of children's books, and now I have a documentary. So, you know, I just need just about the documentary. Richard Dixon, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Just about the documentary, I already know is going to be on point. Thank you, Richard. So yeah, I just, you know, instead of just coming on here and just always asking and begging for money, my thing is like, look, if I'm gonna, I guess, beg for money, You know, it's gonna I'm gonna have a product or service behind it. Again, I'm gonna have a product or service. I'm gonna have a product or service behind it when you guys when I ask you guys for something. So yeah, I need everybody to, including you, Jose Bronze. Jose, I need you to go buy the documentary. All right, I need you to go to searchforhuru.com and buy the documentary. Let's jump into this story. Let's jump into this story. Killing of Nigerian street seller causes outrage in Italy. Alika Ogorchukwu, Igbo brother, beaten to death in broad daylight while onlookers stood by in far right led March region. So this is what my a lot of my African brothers this is what my African brothers got to understand. So in Africa, my experience, whenever there's a fight, something breaks out, people break it up. People, like, there's a fist fight, some women get into it, people come and break it up. There's no world star. I mean, everybody doesn't immediately just start pulling out their cameras. Yeah, sometimes people pull out the cameras, but people, whenever there's conflict, people usually break it up. They get involved and they get in between and they break it up. Well, my African immigrant family has to understand. In the West, it don't work like that unless you're with somebody that you know, unless you're with family or friends. I'm reading your comment, Gary. As long as you're with, if you're with family or friends or someone, you know, if people usually aren't going to break up, people aren't going to break up a fight in the West. Like, you're on your own. And the first thing they're going to do is yell, world star, and the cameras are coming out. So that's what people have to understand when it comes to Western culture for the most part, whenever there's a fight. People aren't breaking it up. I don't understand why Africans go to these racist countries. I don't either. But, you know, I guess they're desperate. But it's unfortunate what happened. We'll play some of the video footage of a Nigerian street seller being attacked and killed. I don't want to play it. In broad daylight in Italy has sparked a row over far-right party xenophobic tactics in the country's election campaign. Alika Ogochukwu, 39, was killed on Friday in the center of Civitanova March, a beach town on the Adriatic Sea. According to the Italian media reports and witnesses, the attack began after Ogochukwu made insistent requests to sell handkerchiefs and for pocket change. I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna play the video, but yeah, I mean, he was a street vendor, you know, trying to make some money. I mean, it's not worth your life. It's not worth getting killed, though. It doesn't justify being murdered in the streets. Alika Ogochukwu was killed. Okay, I read that. Video recorded by onlookers. And see, they pulled the world star. Actually, you guys gotta understand, if you get into a conflict in the West, it's kind of like with Bakari Henderson. Bakari Henderson met his demise in Greece. Nobody there was there to break it up. Like, not only do they have a lot of Nigerians migrated to Italy, you have a lot of Senegalese in Italy as well. Again, you have a lot of Senegalese in Italy as well. And he was crippled, from my understanding. You have a ton of Senegalese in Italy as well. Video recorded by onlookers who apparently did not attempt to intervene shows the attacker wrestling Ogochukwu onto his back on the pavement as the victim tried to fight back. The assailant allegedly grabbed a crutch that the vendor used to walk and struck him down. Guys, make sure you get your self-defense game up too. Learn something, judo, something. A 32-year-old man from Salerno in the Campania region was arrested on suspicion of murder. The attack was also recorded on several surveillance cameras. Matteo Luconi, the chief of the flying squad in Macerata, said witnesses will be heard and camera images viewed to clarify the dynamics of the beating. Hundreds of people from the Nigerian community and Italians protested in Civitanova March on Saturday. Some compared the killing to that of George Floyd in the U.S. This is worse, if you ask me. This is worse. Ogochukwu's wife, Charity Oriachi, said, "I want to look that man in the eye and ask him why he killed my husband. There were so many people around. Why did anyone help him? I want justice now." I mean, it's not Africa. Like I said, in Africa, if there's a conflict, two people get in a fight, people will come break it up. I see it all the time. Not all the time, but I've seen it. Two people get into a conflict, people come break it up. A couple a couple of fists might be thrown, but for the most part, people are going to break it up. Ain't no world star. The incident has caused outrage in Italy, which will hold snap elections on September 25th. A coalition led by Brothers of Italy and including Matteo Salvini's far-right league and Silvio Berlusconi's Forza Italia is tipped to win power. Yeah, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but yeah, it's let me read this. Salvini and Maloney also denounced the killing and said they hope the perpetrator would receive the maximum possible sentence. So yeah, it's unfortunate what happened to him. Hopefully the brother gets justice. I mean, that's pretty much all we can do. Hell, I wonder if Buhari has made a statement. I wonder if Buhari has made a statement at all. Yeah, it's sad and it's unfortunate. Yeah, we already know there's a lot of racism in Italy. I mean, in Europe, period. Like we know there's plenty of racism in Italy. Yeah, I've seen. Here we go. I've seen bad arguments and confrontations in Nigeria that I thought would escalate, but they quickly resolve it, and everyone just goes their own way. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like people get into it, you think it's going to escalate, people come, break it up, and they just go away. They just go away. Yeah. Arab Spring in South Africa. Your boy, what's the guy's name in South Africa? Of the EFF. Somebody help me out. Of the EFF. Julius Malema. Julius Malema. That's his name. Julius Malema. Julius Malema said it might go down. It might go down in South Africa. The South African style. The South African style. Our guy Julius Malema. I don't know what that means. I don't know what will actually. So okay, so say there's a Arab Spring in South Africa. Like I mean, what would that like what would that actually change in South Africa? That's the only that's what I'm that's what I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so South Africans have their Arab Spring, right? Like what will actually change in South Africa? That's my question. And I like for I like for South Africa to call in too. We take calls and kind of explain what would change. So Julius Malema. EFF leader Julius Malema warns of uprising as ANC hold conference. Johannesburg. The leader of the EFF echoed the words of former President Thabo Mbeki when he told the BBC's Hard Talk program there will be an uprising similar to the Arab Spring. He added that this uprising would first target white people and the black elite. Okay. The violence that is going to happen in South Africa is because the elite is disappearing and the poor are becoming more poor, he told the BBC. Malema said an intervention was needed that boosted the quality of life of the poor, and only this would avoid unrest. Therefore, there's going to be something that looks like an Arab Spring that we are guaranteed, he said. Malema also called on Ramaphosa to resign. The Arab Spring was a series of revolutions that swept across North Africa and the Middle East in 2010 that resulted in governments being toppled and civil war. Last week, Mbeki issued a similar warning of a possible future uprising when he criticized the ANC for not dealing with poverty, unemployment, and inequality. These warnings come as Ramaphosa admitted yesterday during his opening of the 6th National Policy Conference that the growing factional battles in his party were not due to ideological differences, but to access to state resources. Oh, wow. So these politicians are worried about their collective pockets, not the people. They're worried about their collective pockets. That's all. Not the people. Not the people. Let me turn this AC on. It's getting a little warm in here. Ramaphosa said he agreed with Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Dr. Nkozana Dlamini Zuma, that failures of service delivery were caused by ANC members. These divisions manifest themselves in patronage, gatekeeping, vote buying, and manipulation of organizational processes. These divisions are driven by corruption and the need by those responsible for corruption to avoid detection and unaccountability. The weaknesses in our organizations are felt beyond our structures. So it looks like it might go down in South Africa. I mean, we'll see, though. We'll see. We'll see. Guys, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Guys, hit that like button. That video just cost me 30 XRP. What's the XRP, Jose? What's the XRP? Is that your guys' money? That's your guys' money? Ripple. What did you pay for in Ripple? Oh, XRP crypto. Okay, crypto. Yeah, only on my site I only accept Bitcoin and are you talking about the video, the documentary? I only accept Bitcoin and hold on. Yeah, I only accept Bitcoin and Ethereum. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. I don't accept. Yeah, okay, because I know XRP Ripple, but I don't accept yeah, I only accept Bitcoin. I only accept Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that's why when he said XRP, I'm like, okay. Like I know. Okay, I paid with my MasterCard at WireX, British Online Bank with wallet equals bank account. Okay, okay, yeah. When you say XRP, I know Ripple, but I don't I don't accept Ripple. I accept Bitcoin and Ethereum. I accept Bitcoin and Ethereum. So yeah. Jose, it's gonna be good, Jose. I think you'll be happy. Jose, I'm pretty sure you wasted your money on other frivolous things. You could buy a documentary. So guys, hit the like button again. Please hit the like button. Um, Make sure you go to documentary.searchforwho.com. Again, go to documentary.searchforwho.com. There are over 200 of you guys here. So again, I need everyone. If you have not bought a copy of the documentary, go to searchforwho.com or go to documentary.searchforwho.com. And I need you to buy the documentary. All right. This is the commercial break. We're at the commercial break now. I need you to buy the documentary. Make sure you go to searchforhuru.com or go to documentary.searchforuhuru.com and buy the documentary. Thank you, Ayana. And buy the documentary. And yes, I accept Bitcoin and Ethereum. I do. I accept Bitcoin and Ethereum. And shout out to Delina. Thank you for the support. Laugh a lot. I got mine. You better get yours. You'll love it. Shout out to Delina for the support. Thank you. Thank you so much, Delina, for the support. And guys, in fact, Tori's in the actual chat room. Shout out to brother Mufasa Shabazz for this photo. So Mufasa, who came to Nigeria with us in 2019 for the Oshun Festival, actually shot this photo right here. He's the one that took this photo. Now, all this is like not part of the original photo, but this right here, my back, here we go, my back, pause, was the original photo that Mufasa took. We were at Olumarine Waterfalls. Mufasa took this photo. So shout out to Mufasa for this photo. And Mufasa, I gave you your credit in the documentary, brother. I gave you your credit in the documentary. So I appreciate the support, brother. Yeah, he took that photo, man. It was a dope photo. So I gave my brother his credit in the in the documentary. So yeah, that's your first cover, bro. My first cover. I'm gonna put that on my resume. Put that on your resume. Yeah, man. Put that on your resume, Mufasa. That's your cover, brother. So yeah, so shout out to Rotimi, brother. I want you guys to Rotimi, the brother who played Dre. He played Dre in Power, right? Was it Dre he played in Power? It was Dre. He played Dre in Power. Um, I gotta play this. Let me play this real quick. This message, this brother, these jewels, this brother dropped. Here we go. Let me play this real quick. Let it load. This is a whole message, and this is what we're talking about here in the search for Uhuru. All right, right here. When you got your money right, when you get into the bag and you're making money, the quality of life, the quality of life is just so much better in Africa. Okay, I'm doing a freezing up thing, I think. Hold on.
It don't matter what country, you live in 10 times better than most rich people here.
Mm-hmm.
There's wealthy there and there's rich here. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, experiencing that and seeing that, and then just the style, the swag, everything has been stolen from there.
Come on, talk
You
your
know what I'm
shit,
saying?
man.
So I think everybody just needs to know that they need to go home, and even just the air, like the air is crisp. You can breathe. Like when you breathe in America, bro, it's like you breathing in problems, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Oh God,
And be
listen.
like, yes, anxiety. When you leave,
Boy.
oh man, Africa, bro, all that anxiety is out, bro. All
Hey.
of that. You got it don't matter what country, you live in 10 times better than most rich people here.
Mm-hmm.
There's wealthy there and there's rich here. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, experiencing that and seeing that, and then just the style, the swag, everything has been stolen from there.
Come on, talk
You
your
know
shit,
what I'm
man.
saying? So I think everybody just needs to know that they need to go home, and even just the air, like the air is crisp. You can breathe. Like when you breathe in America, bro, it's like you breathing in problems, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Oh God,
And be
listen.
like, yes, anxiety. When you leave,
Boy.
oh man, Africa, bro, all that anxiety is out, bro. All
Hey.
of that. You got it don't matter what country.
So that was today's message, everyone. That was today's message. Listen, I'm gonna put the link in the chat room. I'm gonna put the link in the chat room. I'm gonna put the link in the chat room. Link is in the chat room, guys. If you'd like to call in and add to the conversation, you're more than welcome to call in and add to the conversation, you guys. Again, you're more than welcome to call in and add to the conversation, everyone. And do me a favor, if you just joined the chat, hit the like button. Again, please hit the like button. The link's in the chat room. If you want to call in, you know, and build and all that good stuff, you're more than welcome. Shout out to Gas Him Up, who's in the chat room.
My brother, how far now?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. The body fine.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. No tea trap. I'm eating kilichi. Very nice hot kilichi right now. Very spicy.
Where do you get kilichi from in America?
America. I ain't in America. I'm out the country, bro.
Oh, you're in Nigel.
Yeah, me, I did Nigeria already.
Okay, well, gas them up.
I got tired of breathing that. I got tired of breathing that American problem air.
Well, listen. I'll be in Nigeria next week. I'll be there next week. You can find me in Oshogbo.
I'm gonna hit you on the back channel, so I know where you're gonna be at. You gonna be in Lips a little bit?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Yes, I hit you on the back chat. See where you at. We'll link up.
Go ahead, brother.
Man. No, listen. You saw that guy who got killed in Italy. I mean, I don't understand why people. You know what it is? It's like black people around the world are still like waiting for my friend who's a comedian. He's a good friend of mine. Should I shout him out? Nah, I ain't gonna shout him out. He gonna get upset. But he's a good friend of mine, and he's he says that basically black people around the world are waiting for white people to love them and respect their humanity. And just the truth of the matter is that I don't know why especially immigrants, but even, Black Americans, African Americans face that, where it's like we get around white people and we think because we are able to copy them that they somehow recognize our humanity. They don't. You know, you don't have to beg people to recognize your humanity. I sent you that video. I don't know if you got to see it. There's a white boy running around the Calabar, Akwa Ibom region of Nigeria, saving dogs because in that part of Nigeria they eat dog meat. Who cares? In Asia they eat dog meat too, right? It's an animal, right? I think people should eat less meat, but that's a whole other conversation on health and whatnot. But this dude was out there crying, "Oh, that dog has a soul." And he's basically, going up to these Nigerians, paying triple the price to save the lives of these dogs. And of course, these Nigerians are like, "Look at this idiot. Yeah, give me the money. I'm not going to kill the dog. As soon as he walk away, they're going to eat the dog, as soon as this dummy walks away." So it just shows you, right? I think Chinwezu said that. There was a natural disaster. These people sent buses and supplies for the homeless animals. I think it was Hurricane Katrina, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. They sent buses and millions of dollars of supplies for these dogs and these cats, but none for the humans, none for the Black people. So whether you in America, whether you in Italy where they're throwing bananas, Balotelli speaks pure Italian. He was raised by an Italian family. He just, Ghanaian or whatever. They adopted him, wherever he's from. They were still throwing monkeys at this kid. You can't do anything for them to recognize your humanity. I just don't understand why Black people just are so hell-bent on getting them to love you. I don't understand that. It just confuses the hell out of me. So, may that brother rest in peace, but it's like, dude, you in Italy. What do you think? Keep your knife with you, man. Keep a gun. Keep something. Have a couple dudes with you. When you go around certain places, have some people with you. Don't just be out there by yourself thinking that Jesus is going to come or whatever is going to come and say, no, man, you got to, help yourself. So I don't know. As for Rotimi, were people upset that he said that? People were angry? Hey, Jose, what's going on, brother? Were people upset that he said that he has peace in Africa?
Why are they angry? Why are they angry?
Oh, they were angry?
Yeah, why were they angry?
Yeah, I don't know why they were angry. I don't know. I'm kind of confused by that. I'm not sure why they're upset at that. I mean, he didn't say anything bad. He just said like he has a certain level of peace when he goes to Africa, and he's telling people to go to Africa and enjoy that peace. I don't know why that bothers them so much. Yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy. And then for Malema, I ain't South African, but I hope if they do, rise up and do something. But let's be real, if the whites pull out of South Africa and the Indians pull out of South Africa, it's going to basically be Nigeria with Black accents to me. So because what they're gonna do is they're gonna put sanctions. They're gonna start interfering. You're not gonna get access the way you do because you have proximity to whiteness. In my opinion, I could be wrong, but I think that what will end up happening is that if they do eventually take over, I don't know if the global system at large, the global white system at large, will recognize them and allow them to function. I hope that if they do take over, they're smart enough to not be xenophobic and extend themselves and start partnering with other African countries to, make South Africa a regional powerhouse. That's my little 3 cents.
Yeah. I'm reading this comment. Even if we get killed unjustly by the cops, you'll get compensated more in America than any place on the planet. In 99.9% of Black countries, if the cops kill you, you get nothing. I mean, this is what we've devolved into.
Crazy.
Man, so if I get killed in America, I'm gonna get more money than you. If I get killed in America, I'm gonna get more money than you by a police officer. This is what we've devolved into, gas them up.
Scary. Fucking scary.
Yeah, I mean, Jose talks about that all the time. He says that people in the West were in a clinch. I'll let Jose speak for himself, but by the way, people don't know Jose, myself, and Tam. We have a great channel that we do. We're coming back in September, more episodes. But Jose's a brilliant dude, and he talks about that clinch. So I'll let Jose talk about that clinch.
In the West, we are in the clinch. We are focused on our personal, quote unquote, personal per group. Let me say per group. Like African Americans in the United States are in a clinch with Americans, quote unquote. Americans don't exist. It's Europeans, it's Africans, and it's Asians in there. But anyways, Black Americans are in a clinch with Americans. When you move to another country with other whites, it's that clinch is gone, right? So in America, you're very focused on your white man. And here in the Netherlands, it's Suriname people and Dutch Antillean people that are focused on their white man. And in Portugal, I assume us Cape Verdeans are focused on our white man, you know. And I bet if a Black American comes to the Netherlands, ask Nakamizi, if a Black American comes to the Netherlands, or if a Black American goes to Portugal, you won't have that focus on your white man. But you know. Yeah, that's the clinch that Gaston Mop mentioned. But I came on to say that about 2 years, excuse me, about 2 years ago, a Cape Verdean, a Cape Verdean was killed in Italy. Two semi-professional, two brothers, semi-professional MMA fighters kicked a young Cape Verdean brother to death. And it was just because he looked at them the bad way or whatever, and there was a lot of commotion in the country, nationwide, and I believe I don't know for sure, but nationwide, and I don't know for sure that if I heard you when you was reading the articles, but when that Cape Verdean young man, a student, right? Like Nigerians, like Dutch folks or Germans or Americans, we are all over the world at university studying, like in Ukraine. You know, you complained about that, Dynast, but like anyone, Cape Verdeans or whoever is studying anywhere. So there are a lot of Cape Verdeans, well. There are quite a few Cape Verdeans in Italy, but mainly women working as house cleaning, living in house cleaning. Anyways, it used to be that way. I've lost sight on Cape Verdeans the last 20 years, but so there was a lot of commotion when this young man was kicked to death, and even national politicians marched in the protest that was organized in his name, and well, here we are 2 years later, and I bet between now and then a few blacks have lost their lives or ended up in the hospital. I mean, Italian soccer is in Italian soccer. Southern Europe is very open in their racism in soccer, right? They throw bananas on the fields when one of us has the ball, and make monkey sounds. But you know, my personal opinion about this monkey, associating us with monkeys. Coincidentally, I cut off my hair and beard about two hours ago. But our hair proves that we are the furthest of monkeys. I mean, monkeys have fair hair all over their body, you know. So why are these primates calling us monkeys? But anyway,
so my question to you will be then, why are Africans still trying to immigrate to these countries to the point where, you know, they're catching boats, not even boats, canoes from Gambia and Senegal?
Yeah. You know, I talked at least two guys from that, right? Two guys are now in Senegal. One of them has his own shop, and one tried 2 times, and he decided to just stay a Mason in Senegal. So yeah. A few days ago, I read, you know, I've been propagating us Cape Verdeans. We left Cape Verde on a boat, right? My father left Cape Verde on a boat and found a job here in the Netherlands at Shell. And I don't know if you know, but Rotterdam, the city where I live, is a very large transshipment port. It's a logistic center for this part of Europe, right? Great Britain, Germany, especially the backlands, right? Germany, Switzerland, and whatever. Big ships come here and spread the load on smaller ships, and it's distributed, and the other way around, right? It's gathered on large ships and they go to the United States, for example, or the Far East. And so us Cape Verdeans, we came here as sailors, and so I'm kind of mad and tired. I'm trained in a complete other level, but I wished us Cape Verdeans, look where Cape Verde is, right in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. But we have, especially us here in Rotterdam. There's a lot in Boston, but anywhere where there's a significant port, you will find Cape Verdeans, and especially us. I'm especially mad at us here in Rotterdam. Why haven't we been able to turn the Cape Verde Islands into the largest transshipment port? I mean, looking at the port here, why haven't we brought that back to the Netherlands? And you know, as Dutch say, breek me de bek niet open. Don't get me started. Yeah, right. That's your way of saying that. Don't get me started on us migrating. You know, when I was young, when I lived in my parents' house, I used to hear all damn day, yeah, we came here for chances for you, for opportunities for you, and that's just not true. You know, a lot of us came to Europe to become white. You know, and so us, the second generation, we have to wake up or be lucky to bump into a wall here in Europe and wake up to eventually become the Pan-African again. You know, we move here, and just like you in the United States, because I hear, especially, you know, when you talk about communism and socialism and those type of shit, I hear the same programming that that got us, that got into our minds too. So my parents came here, and in the earlier days, they used to play Bob Marley, and they were like Black Power ish, right? And then and the Cape Verde Islands, the party of this guy, right? He was murdered in 73, but the party that was the guerrilla fighters in Guinea-Bissau, it became a political party, and they started to they decided to get the land from the children of the colonizers and divide it among the people, right? And that's when my parents suddenly they were anti-communism, and oh, it's bad. But yo, we were the poorest of the poor, right? But living like it was in 81. It was in 81, right? The land reform. I guess you heard it in other countries too. In our country, it meant getting the land of the children of the colonizer and divide it among the people, right? Socialism. And we were the poorest of the poor. We were sharecroppers, right? And so it would be us that would have benefited, especially if we still were in Cape Verde. But now we're in the Netherlands. After 10 years, it's about 10 years. You know, my father was already here, but in 72 he imported my mother and me and my brother. So after 10 years, my parents were already so programmed that they went against themselves. So you know, you have to. In another show, I don't know if you remember, because you have a lot of shows, you have a lot of people coming on. In another show, I came on and I said, you African Americans, you could be our Trojan horse in media. so we could tell our story to you. And since every black person worldwide has learned to listen to the American media propaganda, where you are the blackface, so every black person have learned to listen to you. If you listen to us and tell our story worldwide to help us understand each other, right? So we come here and we get programmed just like you guys. I mean, listen to ADOS and FBA. What the Brian, what Brian just said. Listen to the nonsense that we learn to believe or learn to hold on to after the programming. Everywhere we turn, we hear all types of bullshit that makes us say and do and choose for stupid shit, you know. So what if you guys listen to us worldwide and tell us worldwide our story, right? So we know each other worldwide. I mean, we ask ourselves, why can't we do as Chinese, right? A Chinese man in the United States or in Europe or in Cape Verde, he imports from his backland, his homeland, right? Why aren't we doing that? You know, why aren't we doing that? Why aren't we that connected?
I can answer that question.
You guys have the key, in my opinion. You in the United States, where everybody worldwide watches the United States, right? Asians copy Asians in the United States. Europeans copy Europeans in the United States. And us Africans, no matter where we are, be it here in Europe or in Africa or in South America, we copy you guys because you are the mannequin that this European machine that's called America is using to commercialize, to turn everybody into a consumer. But guess them up, you have the key.
No, I don't have the key. No, not at all. I was just gonna say, why don't we import? I think it's twofold. One of the main issues is that even though it's slightly changing now, but it's very difficult to import African food products into the United States. And I don't know about Europe; it might be a little bit easier, but it's very difficult. So I'll give you an example. You go to Costco. When I go to Costco, I don't know if you go to Costco a lot, Dynast. I like to get these shiitake mushrooms, and they're actually made in China, but I believe they're packaged in Australia, something like that, or they're shipped directly from China. When I looked at it. And I said, wow, that's crazy. So even with all the trade embargo and all that nonsense that they're talking, they're still allowing Chinese, which is a food product, mushrooms to be shipped into, the United States. Well, in Nigeria, for example, when you go to ShopRite in Ikeja there, they sell oyster mushrooms and stuff like that. They're growing them in Nigeria. That can be easily, dried with all this vegan crazy stuff that everyone's doing now with this vegan health craze. That can be dried and shipped to the United States. But the USDA makes it very difficult to import, food products and food stuff from, unless you have like an African restaurant. I mean, not an African store where you're selling it, but they make it very difficult to import. So, and also, foreign food is sexy, like you said, with the Western machine. So people like to go out and eat Asian, right? So the average white guy will eat Asian. He'll get some Chinese food and use his chopsticks, or he'll get some sushi and some soy, and he'll eat the bok soy and all this, or he'll eat Korean, depending on what region you are in the United States or in Europe. Eating so-called African isn't sexy. It's not marketed in that way. And in a way, I'm glad it's not, because they probably destroy it in all manners. But, because, I mean, look at what they're doing with food now. Like, when they talk about food now, there's people, Africans are running around. What the hell is the Jollof wars? Jollof is not African food. Jollof has never been. That's from the Jollof people.
May I say
Everybody,
something?
it was not sitting down there eating. Yeah, go ahead, Jose.
you know the Netherlands. You know how small the Netherlands is, right? The Netherlands is in the top 3, and I believe maybe it's the second food producer in the world, right? So you wonder, huh? How is that? How is that even possible? Well, guess what? At least past decade, MKB, an organization that supports small and medium businesses, is pushing Dutch entrepreneurs and farmers. You know, they have been in the news the past few days, but these farmers are being pushed to. It used to be Canada and the United States, and guess where they're being pushed right now? You know, I buy beans here in the supermarket, and where are these beans grown? Kenya, right? Another thing about the Netherlands. So they're number 2. At least in the top 3 of food producers, right? But the flowers come from the Netherlands too, right? So is this small country growing flowers and food for the whole damn world? Nope. The Dutch got it together to make, so these flowers, you got whole Dutch and Belgium villages in countries like Mozambique growing flowers, but the Dutch fixed it for them. Like the flowers come here with a little piece of
Yes.
earth, with a little piece of earth, and I live nearby the airport where those planes come in, right? The flowers
Yeah.
come here with a little piece of earth, and where the flower is cut is where, and that's what the Dutch accomplished. Where the flower is cut is where the flower is from. So they fly in these flowers, these roses from Kenya, and these other exotic flowers from Mozambique and whatnot. It used to be, of course, Zimbabwe, tobacco, and British farmers growing tobacco, and Dutch farmers growing flowers. But anyway, they fly the flowers in with a little piece of earth. They cut them here, and boom, it's Dutch flowers. Just
Well,
saying.
that's the game. I mean, I've met. It's interesting you said that, because in my anecdotal experiences, I've come across people who actually did that. I've met a few Europeans, and these guys were telling me like they had this flower growing business in Africa, where they would grow these exotic flowers in Africa and ship them to Europe and I believe Australia, and then they would sell it from there as if it was grown in wherever they were in Australia or Europe, and they'd make triple the markup. But like I was saying, to answer the question about why don't we import? So like I said, African food in terms of the Western markets, it's not marketed and it's not sexy, right? So that's not promoted in a way, and then you have to also take into account the regional dietary differences and choices in diet. So, for example, it would take like a revamping of soul food, right? One would have to, for example, revamp soul food to include, continental and perhaps ingredients from the Caribbean, things like ackee, things like, fonio, things like periwinkles, water leaf, bitter leaf, right? That's going to be a hard sell. It can be done, but that's going to be a very hard sell to
You know,
to revamp and restructure it. So
yesterday.
I think that
Sorry, sorry.
say again.
To
No,
answer
go
your
ahead. What'd you
question,
say?
to answer your question earlier, yes, they make it hard to import stuff from Africa, agricultural stuff from Africa. To Europe, but yesterday I was in a convo about making jam
Hey, guys, I'm reading the comments. Let's get back on topic. People are like, we're off topic now, as far as
all right, yeah.
the immigrant. What happened to the brother in Italy, and what Rotimi said, and your boy with the EFF. Gassim, let me ask you this: so Arab Spring, and then I'll pass it to Peso after Gassim up. How does Arab Spring look like in South Africa, or are they just bluffing?
It's never going to end well.
Gas them up.
That's me.
Gas them up. You there?
can you hear me? Say that question again.
I was asking, how does Arab Spring look like in South Africa? Or are they just bluffing? Gas them up. You got to put some minutes on your
Military.
phone. You're muted. You're muted. Go ahead.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me
We
now?
hear you now. Go ahead. We hear you now. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was saying that, basically that the Arab Spring didn't accomplish anything, right? In Egypt, the military still took over; they're still in charge. Um, so that word revolution only means 360. It's just a circle. So you start at one place and you end up going back and you end up in the same spot. That's a full revolution. So that means you haven't changed anything. A complete revolution. So I mean, I hope that they're able to really make change. But if you're using the so-called Arab Spring as your template, I don't see how that makes sense, in my opinion. Um, I'm hoping that they can get some good land reform. I'm hoping that they can open up their markets and do a lot of intra-Africa trade, and bring in experts from all around Africa and the diaspora to help them man those institutions and machineries of state if those whites and Indians are forced out of South Africa, and that they tighten their belts and prepare for sanctions and all kind of chicanery and treacherousness that the European blocks of power in America will do in terms of sanctions and all kind of maneuverings if you have a free, independent Black South Africa. So that's just my little 3 cents on it.
Go ahead, Peso. Unmute yourself, Peso.
Gas them up can say one more thing. Give me about 5 minutes.
All right. Guys, links in the chat room. Link is in the chat room. If you'd like to call in and add to the conversation,
So,
please click on the link.
so Dynasty,
Please click on the link.
I was trying to ask you. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, hold on. Guys, links in the chat room again, please. If you'd like to call in and add to the conversation, go ahead and click on the link. All right, go ahead, gas them up.
No, I was just trying to say, with what Rotimi said, what was your experience? Do you feel that same breath of relief when you land in Africa?
I know exactly what he's talking about. And until people actually experience that African air, you won't understand. Like, it's not, and people are like, well, in Nigeria, the smog is very high and all this other stuff, but it's just is different. Like, you won't understand until you are 10 toes down on the ground. And people who are traveling with me to Nigeria, to Africa, whether it's Sierra Leone or Nigeria, in this, it's the first time, you'll understand what Rotimi is speaking on once you hit that tarmac or leave that airport and go outside. You'll get it. I know exactly what he's talking about because I experienced it when I was in Tanzania for the first time. And every time I go back to the continent, I know exactly what he's talking about.
Can I say something now? I'm ready to
go ahead,
talk.
Peso.
All right. I think what you guys, you have your own experience, and I cannot debate that, or I will not necessarily attack that or criticize it. However, we have to understand something. That's your perspective, your own personal perspective, like it was with the actor slash singer. You have to understand something. You guys are coming from a different place, and when I say a different place, I mean from a monetary, financial perspective. So Africa is nowhere near better than the U.S. or any European country. Not for the average Joe, not for the average man. Maybe for you, because yes, you can stay in a nice hotel, you can have nice accommodations, you can move as you please because you have the financial access. But I bet you the poor African, the African that is struggling, would trade both of his arms to get to a better position or get to a better place. And Africa, we got to stop lying to people, man, about Africa. Africa is not this bastion of tranquility
Yeah, but peso,
happiness.
I think you can apply that to anybody who's in that type of state in any place of the world. I mean, listen, I tell this story all the time. I had an outreach program, Project Peanut Butter and Jelly, and I was on Skid Row every Sunday feeding the homeless. Like the conditions I've seen there is worse than anything I've seen in Africa. So yeah, I mean, anybody who's poor, no matter where you're at, yeah, it's going to be tough.
Exactly.
Peso, you can respond if you want to, or I'll just pass it to Al.
Yeah, you know what? You might say where you were feeding the homeless, those places are, and I wasn't there, so I can't tell you if they're worse than someplace in Africa. I'm not going to debate that. But what I can debate is that if I'm down and out, if I'm homeless in America, if I go back to America right now and I have nothing, zero, I have a chance. I have actual a chance to get on my feet and do better. Most people can fall flat to zero, and if they work hard, they can get them an apartment, a car, etc. Within a year. I say within 12 to 24 months, they'll be back on their feet. Not in Africa, in most cases. Those
All right,
people, some of those
so
people will
peso. So
never
then
have
my
a car.
question, then peso. My question is, if that's the case, why, like even here in Atlanta where I'm at, why is the homeless situation getting even worse?
Why is the homeless situation getting worse? Is
Right.
because of it's probably because of quote unquote enterprising people that are buying up property, raising the rent. It's pretty much greed,
But peso, you just
human
said
greed,
that in 12. But peso, you just said in
human
12
greed.
months. You just said in 12 months that someone could get off you or someone could get off their feet, get them back on their feet, and get an apartment and everything else. But again, why is the homeless situation in America, LA, Atlanta, both places that I lived in or currently living in, getting worse?
I just told you if you're in places, first of all, if you're homeless, let's just break this down. Let's just use common sense. If I'm homeless in a city, just say LA, we're gonna say LA or Atlanta. If I'm homeless, what's your first move? What's your first move, Dynast, if you homeless? If you broken homeless, what's your first move?
I've never been homeless.
No, no,
I
no.
wouldn't
I know
know,
you
but
probably never been home, but what would you be your first move? What would be your first move?
I
You
know
don't have
the
you don't have to be homeless to know how
no.
not to be
Let
homeless.
me ask you a question, Chris. Let me ask you a question. So, from my experience talking to people, the first move is they go sign up for go to the state or county office and get benefits. Start signing up for benefits or trying to get benefits.
Okay. I see what it is. Let me see. My first move, if I'm homeless, my first move is to number one is to find a job. That's my first move, to find a job. Okay, if I can, if say I find a job and quote unquote the rent is high in those areas. The rent, like for example, L.A., New York, Seattle, D.C. area, or San Francisco area. If I'm making more money, if I'm not making enough money in those cities, guess what I do? I leave those cities and I go somewhere where I can get a job where I can afford to live. That's common sense. That's flat
It's not
out
that. It's
common
not. It's
sense.
not. Sorry, but it's not that simple because the
Uh,
reality is. The reality is.
why is it not? Now
Okay.
that is
Okay.
simple. That is
Okay.
simple.
Okay.
Well, hold on. If I can interject, yeah, Peso. But again, if it's that simple, why is the homeless situation in New York, L.A., Atlanta out of control?
Where they
Because
put
those
job
because once
opportunities.
again, they're spending their expenses are higher than what's coming in. That's obvious. Their expenses are higher what they're coming in. So what they have to do is they have to make a pivot. Why would you live in a in a location where you can barely afford? See, those people don't want to leave. That's the problem. They don't want to leave. Why would you live somewhere where you can't afford to live? You
Right,
have to get off your
and
butt
Peso,
and go.
I agree with you, but again, they're not leaving, and the situation is becoming worse. That's the point I'm trying to make. So
well, that's stupidity. That's
And
stupidity. That's pure
also
stupidity.
Peso,
That has nothing to do with people doing bad. That's stupid. That's people being stupid.
and also depend as you mentioned earlier, it's depending on where you are. If you're like in the UK, if you don't have an address, if you don't have a permanent address, a lot of companies not going to take you on anyway. So you'll be looking for a job all day. They're not going to give you the job because you don't have an address where they can actually trace you to, and like the tax people and stuff like that. So you need to get an address before a job. I understand what you mean. I definitely would rather I'll go for a job because at least I know, even if I ain't got the money, I can say, you know what, can you borrow me a certain amount of money, or like go somewhere and get a loan when I know I'll be able to pay the loan back and get somewhere to live. But however, it's the same problem in the UK. The areas where there's a lot of job opportunities is very expensive to live. But then the areas where the rent is cheaper, there's no job. So it's a catch-22. So it's not that simple, Peso.
Sir,
Not that simple.
that's why you have a brain. That's why
Yeah, but
God gave you a brain. God gave you a brain to think
we
your
just
way out of
counter.
your problem.
Yes, we just count.
That's the
The
problem
best
with
way
most.
the best
That's
way
the
is to
problem with
avoid
most black
getting into
folks.
that
Unfortunately,
situation.
can I say one thing? I just want to say that's the problem with us as black people. We don't think because we are already behind the 8 ball. Once you come out your mother's womb, you're already behind the 8 ball. So the cards are stacked against you. So you have to come out thinking. We have to think our way out of these issues, out of these problems. Just like the guy from Cape Verde, he was wondering why they can't import foods into these countries, into these European countries. The reason why you can't do that is because they don't want you taking advantage of their markets. You have to
right,
create your
but
own market.
We're kind of getting off topic. Your statement was that the homeless situation, or they're in worse conditions, the homeless in Africa than America.
Can I respond to him when he's done?
Yeah, and I said I disagree because of my experience in Africa and on Skid Row. And then you said, well, they don't move or they won't move or whatever. But yeah, doesn't change.
But you just brought up, you just said you tried to interject dynamics of homelessness, but you never been homeless.
Well, Peso, can I respond?
Go ahead, Gaston.
Can I respond to what Peso said?
Go ahead,
Peso, definitely, I think he means well in the sense that, yeah, of course, Africa is not a cakewalk, and I've always advocated that. I'm the first one to tell you, man, when you get to Africa, you need to have someone, like rest in peace, Falajiki, right? That's his name. That was brother's name.
Right. Falajiki.
Yeah, you need to have, Falajiki. You need somebody that's gonna, guide you and walk you through. You understand what I'm saying? You're gonna see a lot of so-called structural adjustment poverty in $1 a day. And then, a lot of things are being exacerbated. You have climate change that's affecting things. I mean, you look at Nigeria, climate change is definitely creating issues in the north. So now you got bandits, herdsmen, Boko Haram, you got all the stuff that's happening. You go down to the east, you got people agitating there, you go down to the Delta, so you do have problems. And yeah, Peso Man, I think, is giving a sobering reality to sober people up to say, and like I always say, don't just come to Africa or go to Nigeria in particular just thinking, I'm gonna wear some, this lace or this agbada and eat jollof rice and run around and take pictures. No, you need to understand what it is you're coming into, and you need to understand, hey, look, man, it's the same rules apply in any hood. Whether you in East New York or whether you in the project somewhere in the Bronx, or you in one of the ghettoest places I've ever been to in my life was College Park in Georgia. I said, what the hell is this? In Atlanta, I'm like, man, this is hood. So it's the same rules that's going to apply, and I think Peso Man is doing a great job. However, what I will disagree with Peso Man is that in Africa, like a perfect example with Dynast was talking about, you'll see a conflict between people on the street, and typically people will get together and say, hey, what happened? Okay, oh God, no, don't fight. People will shout, they'll scream at each other, and then people try to break it up and separate, right? 8 out of 10 times, it really got to be there before people get to a level. And a lot of times you can really trace that to like gangs, cults, mafia, it's political. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's just waking up in Africa, even in extreme poverty, just grabbing a gun saying, I want to shoot 15 people, or I just want to be a stepper. You know what I'm saying? You got gangster dudes and stuff, but again, they're typically tied into activity that you can avoid. So I do think Peso Man is giving a good, sobering reality. However, at the same time, after you get that dose of reality, you should still come on the ground and make this place your home. It's your birthright. And like I said this to Dynast the other time, like when they were talking about Liberia. And, I understood, and I wrote in the comment section, I understood, like, nah, nobody can tell this man that he don't have a right to Africa. No, that's ridiculous. He does have a birthright to Africa, and the road is going to be bumpy. But there's an old Yoruba proverb. Shout out to the Afro think tank. Shout out to him. He posted it today where it says, in order to get really good soup, you got to turn the stove up. You know what I'm saying? The stove got to get hit with a little bit of fire in order to get real good soup. So you're gonna go to Africa and you're gonna feel a little bit of that heat. So I'm just saying, Peso Man, don't. I think it's good to give reality, but I don't think you should discourage people. People need to feel that heat. Yeah, Africa's not a cakewalk. You're gonna have them grimy, scammy people who just want to take money from you and all this stuff. So yeah, give them that. But at the same time, I'll end with this. At the same time, and no, I just want to end with this real quick. But at the same time, I think that it's up to people like you who have been on the ground to create that bridge for African Americans or people in the diaspora who want to come back. You don't have to. It's not your right. Nobody's forcing you. But I do think that you guys would be in a great position to, you've got there. You've been to Uganda, if I'm not mistaken, one of those countries in Africa. You've been there. You've seen what it's like. I'm assuming you've made some. You put your feet in the ground, got a little concrete on your feet, established yourself. So now because I will say this. This is the last thing I'm gonna end with. I do believe that if I had more African Americans who had an African understanding and African sensitivity, I could do a lot more in Nigeria, especially because you guys understand the global concept. Sometimes on the ground, it's very hard to explain certain things to my African brothers and sisters because they haven't been exposed to it. But if I'm dealing with someone like Dynast, I'm like, yo, Dynast, man, over there in Chick-fil-A, you know how the customer service is? Dynast like, yeah, cool. We're gonna do it like this. He'll get me. So if we have, if you move as a block and as a community with cultural understanding and sensitivity, not to come there and be your own new FBA. No, like the other videos, you got to marry or intermix and really create those blood ties and get in with the people. Man, the sky's the limit, in my opinion. I'll end with that.
Yeah,
I would agree with the last point, what he said. Most definitely, if you move in blocks and stuff like that, yes, because you're in thinking wise, you're 20, maybe even 30 years ahead of these people from an enterprising perspective. However, I've never told people not to come to Africa. Matter of fact, I think everybody. I was talking to somebody today. I think everybody should come to every black person should come to Africa. And not only should you come to Africa, you should at least visit 5 countries. And I named the countries: 2 on the west, Ghana, Nigeria; 2 in the east, Uganda, Kenya; and 1 in the south, South Africa. All those countries speak English. So there will be no English, there will be no language barriers when it comes to visiting those countries. However, the reason why you need to come here is you need to come here to see how different America is, or European countries are ran, than African countries, because they're ran totally different. Totally different. You will totally appreciate when you go back to America. You will appreciate everything that you got, because like I said once before, I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm not here to make any money or try to get people to come back to Africa. I'm going to give them the real. And the real, because when you start lying to people and stuff like that, they waste money, they waste time, they get frustrated, and I'm not that type of person. I don't.
They get cheated, they get scammed. I agree.
Yeah, or whatever. My point is that is that people, when they're talking about the diaspora in Africa, they need to give them the good, the bad, and most definitely the ugly.
Yeah, that's a point. That's a point. I mean, to be honest with you, if you look at like Prince Dinah's videos, you can see that as well because he is one of the few guys that goes out in the villages. Yeah, he doesn't just go out in the towns and stuff like that. Because I remember someone asked him, "Why do you always go to the little villages?" You know, because that's one of the points. You need to go from areas that people don't really go. You know, and the cultural, aspect of the country and to the town and stuff like that. So it's kind of diversifying it. So we're not expecting, obviously, for example, like Sierra Leone, where dynasty go. I mean, during just after the war, if you look at it, it was a terrible place to what it is today, right? Today we have in the capital we have electricity. I remember Go Black went there, he was complaining about electricity, but right now there's electric in the city, and we have a new ferry that take you, to the when you go back down. Gonna see that we've got a new ferry that take you to the city. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of improvement that's happening. The people are not just sitting still. We all know that. I mean, most people are good.
Hey, Al, you're breaking up, bro. You're breaking up.
Get back to the main point.
Al, I'm saying you're breaking up. Let me bring on Joel. Joel Alpha Mefune, go ahead.
In terms of our Nigerian brother that got killed.
Sorry about that. Can you guys hear me?
Hear you loud and clear. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just wanted to add to the conversation. Something people need to realize is Nigeria and Africa are still developing countries. And development is good for the entrepreneur and Black people. As a Nigerian, I always thought it was a good idea for Black Americans just to get their feet wet and go to Africa and see if there's anything that you can bring to the continent. It's projected to be one of the most populous, like in the next 50 to 100 years. And if you have any development skills or any knowledge, bringing that to Nigeria and Africa can literally change your life, change the African's life. And to be honest, yeah, it's either got to be you guys or the Chinese, and I'd rather have Black Americans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey
Exactly.
man, what's wrong with the Chinese, man? Why we can't do business with the Chinese?
Oh no, I love the Chinese.
Come
It's
on,
just
Daniel.
that it's just a little sketchy
on,
in my eyes.
Daniel.
Like, did you see what happened in I believe Malawi when they were making those kids read?
But that's what I'm saying.
Black stuff?
Again, we got to move as blocks. I saw that. That was terrible. And that dude is a moron. But again, we got to move as blocks because my whole thing is when I'm in Nigeria and I see these people act a certain way, I'm never around those rich parts anyway. But if I do happen to be around those places and they try to give white people preferential treatment I lose my mind. I start bugging out and they the Americana, okay, you know what I'm saying? Because I tell them flat out, listen, don't tolerate that. Because in his country, they throw bananas at you.
For real.
You understand what I'm saying? In his country, they treat you like dirt. But we got to go out there and have those conversations. Because like I said, if you look at the school system in Africa, no one teaches about slavery. There's no, like in New York on 125th Street, you can see Sarnetta on the corner showing lynchings and how they were cutting off Black men penises. No one in Africa is in Lagos Island. Dinus has been in Lagos Island. Dinus, what do you think them Africans would do if you took one of them dudes from 125th Street and gave him a stand right there in Lagos Island and he was just showing what white people was doing to Black people in America? What do you think them Africans would say when they see that?
They'll beat him up.
I think they'll be in shock. Like they'll be in shock. They'll be in shock.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying? So it's left for us to make our people back home aware of what the situation is. Because part of the problem is, and shout out to Rotimi, but Rotimi and these guys, these Lagos, these Lekki Island types, right? These guys fly in, they got armed security, take them straight from Murtala Muhammad straight down to Lecky Axis, VGC, and all that stuff. So they're over there good, and they're presenting to they don't take the time to even notify, there's a difference in Nigeria, particularly between Lagos, between the island and the mainland. They're not sitting down there educating their people who live on the mainland. Hey, listen, man, dietary choices are affecting health, man.
And
The
I
foods we
wanted
put
to
in our
go off
mouths
of that
change,
because I was
affect us.
reading somewhere
Yeah, go ahead.
that in Nigeria they got rid of history.
I think the brother went out. Guys, do me a favor, hit the like button. Also, hey, everyone who's watching this, listen, we're at almost 400
right now.
watchers.
Some of us don't even know our history because
hey brother, one second, bro. Yeah, it went out. Hold on 1 second. Guys, do me a favor. We have close to 400 people watching. If you have not bought the documentary, I need you guys to go to documentary.searchforuhuru.com or go to just searchforuhuru.com. Link is right here on the screen. And I need you to buy the documentary, you guys. I need you to support and buy the documentary. I am humbly asking that everyone buy the documentary. So once you buy the documentary, you'll sign up using a username, which would be your email address and a password. And once you purchase it, it's yours for life. And all you do is just on any device, you'll just log in and you can watch it on any device once you purchase the documentary, kind of like Netflix. So guys, do me a favor, go to documentary.searchforuhuru.com, searchforuhuru.com, or searchforuhuru.com and buy the documentary, please. Buy the documentary. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so I would just say to a lot of Black Americans, FBAs out there, I know you have a lot of malice and anger towards Africans, and it's warranted. I understand it, but also realize that during colonization and slavery, all that stuff, white people did a really good job at switcherooing. They gave Africans the stereotype that Black Americans live in the best country on the world and can't produce anything, and vice versa. They gave you the poor African who can't find food, everything, that stereotype. And they're two uncompletely true things, and the first part is acknowledging it and uncolonizing the mind, people in my group like to call. But yeah, they burnt the histories of a lot of Africans. So
I want to react to this, brother, please.
Go ahead.
After you're done, sorry.
Oh, I'm wrapping it up soon. I just like to use this platform to just tell a lot of you guys, be patient, and if you have any curiosities, just go get an African friend, a Black friend, and hop on a plane and just go see it. Because I'm Nigerian, like I said, and I came back from Nigeria like a couple of months ago. Nigeria is building their first train rails and connecting places. There's all these airports that take you within Nigeria. Nigeria is booming, and I want Black Americans to get a part of that.
Hey, let me ask you this. How do you think this upcoming election is going to affect the continuing of the boom?
Right. See, me and my family, we don't really talk about elections because that's when it becomes more violent. The thing about it is, in the end of the day, you're just picking what Black leader is going to be the middleman between Europe. I feel like politics will not save Africa until it becomes a grassroots level. Africa is the youngest continent on the planet. We need to get young people interested in changing their own environment. That's the only way.
Dynasty, I think regarding the election, based on what I've noticed recently, even though I'm a big fan of Obi, but I think it's gonna be APC or PDP, to be honest.
I think
Yeah.
It would be a tragedy if Peter Obi doesn't win.
I don't think he's gonna make it because of all this insecurity that's going on. I don't think he'll be able to do it. It's not the right time for him to lead the country.
But Dynasty, you got to understand, in order to run Nigeria, in order to run politics in Nigeria, you got to be entrenched. And Peter Obi may be the best candidate for the future, but for right now, and I hope he does win, but let's not act like Peter Obi is really going to come in there and make a miracle. But for between the lesser of two evils, it does seem like, unfortunately, the PDP candidate
It's gonna.
might
It
be
might.
the
They might
the
clinch
the,
it.
the lesser of
Yeah.
two evils.
Yeah.
Because and I know Nigeria. At the end of the day, you still got to deal with those political mafias. But
Got
somebody in
to.
the comments was saying, somebody in the comments was saying, "Oh, why would you come from the diaspora and live in the mainland? Go to Lekki." Again, this is what I'm saying. Like Peso Man is talking about. Is people like y'all, no disrespect to you, that give diaspora people a sour taste in their mouth. Because first off, you and I know Lekki is way overpriced. All that Victoria Island is extremely overpriced. So you already set them up for failure. So you're gonna sit down there, take them over to Victoria Island, take them to Lekki. They're gonna spend all that money. You're gonna do what business they gonna do? No, get them to the mainland. Tell them, listen, look, man, learn some Yoruba, learn some Igbo, learn some Hausa, learn how to get on the bus. You understand what I'm saying? Learn how to get to Oshodi. Once you get to Oshodi, you can't get lost in Lagos, right? You get to Oshodi, you go on to Ikeja, you go on to wherever you want to go. Learn that. So now they flow in as Nigeria. Don't take them to Lekki. So now they got to get this fancy car. No, man, you setting them up to lose, in my opinion. Give them so they can really be a so-called Nigerian. And I hope his book is still on Amazon. Grandmaster Amin Ra's book, How to Survive in Modern Day Africa. And he was talking about the Kenyan experience, but it's a great book. You gotta go in there and bring people in, and don't sell them the pie in the sky, because I've seen that happen. I got a kid that I mentor, a young dude. He's not a kid, he's a grown man, but I used to mentor him. He works at Uber, he's doing good things. But when he went to Nigeria, what they do? They ran him off the Lekki. I say, yo, people ran him off the Lekki. He's around a bunch of lawyers. And it was just like, yo, they just trying to fill his pockets to see how much money they're gonna get out of him. They're gonna show him some fake development, some real estate. Nah, man, don't do that to people. Keep it real with them. Tell them, look, man, in order to get this shop, you gotta, some place might tell you 2 years rent up front. Gotta pay your agency an agreement. You're looking at, to get a good, decent shop in a good, decent neighborhood with good foot traffic to sell your products, you're looking at, let's say, ₦1 million a year. You're looking at 700,000 naira a year. So you break that down into dollars, this. Walk them through so that way they can stand. So now you got a network of strong African Americans who are doing positive things. Now you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why we're not thinking like that. You just want to take them to the island so they can eat shawarma, put some jollof rice, they'll dance to a WizKid song, and then go back. That's bootleg tourism, if you ask me. But I don't want to, digress.
A lot of these
Yeah,
guys,
that makes sense.
a lot of these quote unquote Americans, they have these and these fantasies about Africa, yet they have yet to step over. A lot of these people, especially the people in your chat, it was one person, some brewer talking about he wants to be a teacher in Uganda. He doesn't care how much they pay. Well, let me tell you how much they pay. They pay roughly around maybe about $200 a month, and sometimes you don't get paid. I have friends that are teachers, and they teach at private schools, and sometimes they don't even get paid. And if they act up or protest,
Ask him what he wanna
they
teach.
get
He can
they
come to
can
Sierra
they'll
Leone
get
and
fired.
actually teach in
They'll get
school.
fired. So these people, they don't even know what they're getting
Child
into when they come over here. That's why a lot of them come over here and they leave with their tail between their legs.
All right, One Nation for All. Go ahead. One Nation for All. Go ahead.
Hey, you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, yeah. Thanks for having me joining the platform. Like I said in the comment section, it's always been a pleasure for me to participate in your program. I jumped into the not really aware of what the topic was, but I could always have something to say. I don't know if it should be related to the topic or not, but yeah. First thing I noticed is a lot of participants on this program, on these platforms, are mostly dark in complexion. I don't know why, but that's something that really drew my attention. Um, so when doing some research, I realized it was a platform that had to promote the Black culture, the diversification, and other stuffs like that. So yeah, based on that second point as well, I feel like it could be a place for me to get educated because we are all out here to learn more. The topic of today, could you just brief me a little bit on that so I know exactly how to
Yeah, so
how
so
to
we're,
proceed?
we're we were talking about the immigrant who was killed in Nigeria, Rotimi's comments on Africa, and is there going to be an Arab-like spring in South Africa?
Oh, I got you. All right. Yeah, based on the immigrant who was killed in Nigeria, um, I haven't really had updates on that. I'm really sorry. Um, but like I say, immigrants are something we do everywhere in the world. You know, it's a topic that concerns each and everyone from creation. We're nomads, meaning we are people by nature moving from one place to another. I myself am an immigrant of the world. I consider myself one nation for all because you know we never know where we're gonna be. We're gonna know where we're gonna end up. I'm an immigrant. I've moved to a couple of places in Europe, in Asia. Presently, I'm in North America. But it's a difficult situation being an immigrant. Um, First of all, you need to be accepted wherever you decide to move to. And based on that, it doesn't really depend on you. That depends on other factors. So there are some things within your reach that you can do as an immigrant. There are things that you know you can't really do much. So talking about the things you can do, um, you have to know smart immigration. Just immigrate because someone told you of an opportunity. You should immigrate based on the fact that you are convinced that it meets your requirement. And if that's something that doesn't work with you, there's no need for you to proceed on that side. But yeah,
Brother, do we
people
say that to
might
white people?
for reasons Europe,
Brother, do we say that
from
to white
Africa
immigrants?
to
Brother,
Asia. I didn't
brother, when
get you.
white immigrants come to Africa, when whites come to Africa and Lebanese come to Africa, do we tell them the same thing?
No.
Uh, yeah, like I say again, it all depends on, you know, they come in, there are some factors that they can control and there are some factors you can control. So depending on how both of you need to interact, because it's two factors coming together, the person migrating and the person receiving. So all depends on the rules that sets
No,
the
but they're
game.
migrants too. They're migrants too, but they're seen as investors and expats, while we're seen as tethers and all kind of horrific things, and that's why you have this violence that's dished out to this guy. Yet these same idiots who killed him would never attack their politicians, right? They would never attack their central bank. So it's easy to scapegoat the one crippled African immigrant, but they would never, I dare you, they would never come into any ghetto in Africa or any ghetto in America and attempt to attack a black person. They wouldn't try that because they know that what they would get. So I'm just saying, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I will say that we kind of have to no longer present ourselves as if we have to go along to get along and we have to fit and find out. No, migration has always happened, and a lot of the migration that's happening is as a result of their government's economic policies. They're the ones who told us structural adjustment programs because prior to the 1970s, people weren't running out of their country in mass. They're the ones who messed up the economies for these people. Now we have to leave and go over there. They should be, treated the same way when they come over to Africa, but they're
Exactly.
not. When they go to Africa and they go to Caribbean, they're given red carpet.
Exactly. Gas them up. Do you think we should start teaching? Do you think we should start teaching? All this stuff in Africa in our schools. Really, it's about time, isn't it?
Listen to me, the African, and this is where Peso Man, right? The low IQ thing, right? Shout out to Peso Man. I think he means well.
But
I'm not throwing him
we
under, but he's
already
still
been
my
there
brother.
before.
But
But I think we should start teaching
yeah, nah, he's my
all the
dude, man.
stuff in our
Peso Man
schools.
means well, but I'm saying teaching, it has to be. We have to understand that these African governments, unfortunately, are European, constructions. because the truth of the matter
You have
is
to teach them
African
about
governments
slavery.
don't work for
You have to
African
teach them
people.
about racism. How should obviously
We
these
have to
things have to
feed
be
them
in our
first.
media.
May I answer
Like
this
peso,
question?
okay,
Yeah, of
but
course,
quickly,
you
like
can.
Peso Man would say, you got the poor people, you got to feed them first before you teach them about history. You know, a hungry man is an angry man. How you gonna teach a man that hasn't
How you
eaten
doing?
or thinks he's being,
That's it. I'm
he
good.
thinks he's
The,
being oppressed?
Yeah.
How's he gonna,
but there are a lot of poor countries in the world that and poor races that's not been treated like us. And if you notice in Africa, why we actually are so nice to foreigners is because we don't know what these foreigners are doing to us in their countries. Trust me, if these people in Africa knew about how black people are treated in their country, they wouldn't be so nice to them. I tell you that now.
Yeah.
Not all the countries, but most countries, they wouldn't be so nice to them when they go there.
Yes,
100%.
I wanted to answer
But
your
that's what I said.
question.
Who do you blame for that, Jose? I'm in with this, Jose. Who we blame, and I know they don't like it when I say this on these platforms. It's particularly I'm gonna talk about Nigeria. I blame these Lekki people, these Victoria Island, these Abuja, these elites. It's y'all fault. Don't come on these platforms angry because I'm calling you out. Go into your communities in Lekki and treat your housemaid good. Treat your house help good. When you get on the bus, if you are gangster enough to get on those downfall buses, tip the conductor an extra 500 naira. Treat your fellow Nigerians good. Stop coming from America treating the people locally bad, and then you complain about slavery and racism when you get to America and you get to Europe. Treat your own Africans good. Go ahead, Jose. I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah. My answer would be yes, and the super chat, the last super chat is underlining that. Yes, of course, we should someone should write a book and push it to African schools, right? Some things that in Senegal, people are fairly conscious about Black history, right?
Very.
Sheikh Anta Diop is a Senegalese, and people are very proud of him there. So people are fairly conscious. People are fairly conscious worldwide. People are fairly conscious about how blacks are treated in the United States. So again, my African American brothers, take that leadership in educating and uniting us. Because yes, in India, a Ghanaian guy was murdered. Ghanaian guys or African students have been attacked in certain areas in India. Um, in the Netherlands, now and then something happens. Everywhere, now and then something happens, and us, especially us in Europe, we know the George Floyds, we know you, we know the Browns, we know the Zimmerman and his we know you. We walk with T-shirts with those names. We walk with banners with those names. We use don't shoot. Well, the police. Yes, the police is quicker shooting us, but here in the Netherlands, the police doesn't shoot that quick. So everybody knows the African American struggle. So now African American take the lead. Black people listen to you and not to to the Frenchman, to the black in France, not to the black in the Netherlands, not to the black in Germany. Blacks worldwide listen to you. So please
Like today on Brother
take that
Brandon,
role.
like on
Take that
Brandon's show
quote
today, I
unquote.
learned a lot about Marcus Garvey.
Take that
Because I was
quote
listening to
unquote
Brandon.
leading role that propaganda America has given you. Take it and be the spook that sat at the door, or the Trojan horse, or something in between, or both. Please.
Yeah. Good
Yeah.
point.
Hey
Um.
guys, how's everyone doing? How you doing, LL?
Yeah. Hey, brother. How you doing? All right.
I'm doing good.
Yeah,
What's
go
up,
ahead, Kabaka.
Gaston? What's up, everyone? Well, first I just want to say that I'm kind of
What's up, brother?
tired of seeing stories like these on the news. I mean, it's really disheartening and it's really discouraging seeing things like this happen again and again to our people worldwide. And it gets to a point where you kind of almost sink to a place of hopelessness, momentarily, and then you kind of have to just snap out of it and get back to reality and the solutions. I first want to just start off with saying it's so unfortunate that a lot of our people feel like it's worth it to leave their home countries, to leave their people, to go to countries like Italy, just so that they can sell handkerchiefs on the street and be harassed and attacked by, unprovokingly attacked by racist individuals. We have a sickness in a lot of our minds, in a lot of our peoples, where they think that anything is worth it just to live in the West. They deem the West to be a heaven on earth. And just to piggyback off of what Al was saying, I think also in addition to teaching the people about the racism that they'll experience into the West, I think we also need to show people that the lifestyle in the West isn't really what it cracks up to be. I mean, like, number one, you don't have the ability to grow your own food. Number two, your living conditions are terrible. You're not going to live on your own land. You have to pay rent. Taxation is insane. You have to work so many jobs. It's a rat race. I think we need to educate and realign our people to understand that when you come to the West, it's a struggle. It's a different type of struggle, but it's not smooth sailing, because a lot of the people believe that coming to the West is. Go ahead.
Kabaka, can I ask you a question? Where are you currently? Where do you live?
Right now, I'm in Uganda.
Okay, all right.
Was that it?
Yep, that was it.
Okay, so anyway, what I was saying was, yeah, we just need to educate our people that the West is not what it is cracked up to be. There are advantages to living in the West, and we want to get our own nations up to that point. But I mean, man, it's not worth it to leave Nigeria just to go to Italy and to get killed on the street like that. That's all I wanted to say.
I'll say one thing. Yeah, what you said was it's very true. Who wants to go to any foreign land and be murdered like a dog on the streets? I don't think anybody would sign up for that. However, when you put people in a desperate state, a desperate situation, they can't think clearly. People, at the end of the day, people want to. This is what most people want. Sound-minded people want. They want to have food, shelter, some type of security where they don't get hurt. And in most cases, they want to start a family, especially women. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it gets no basic than that. And unfortunately, in Africa, people are put in a position where they can't have those things. They can't have those things. Like somebody once said, the old cliche, they're not making any more land.
Wait, are you saying that women can't start a family in Africa? I don't understand that one point you made there.
No, I'm not saying that women can't.
I think what he's saying about material economic development, they're lacking. Am I correct, Peso Man?
Yes, what I'm saying is that a lot of people here, they don't even have the basics. I have many of times, because I know a lot of people in Africa, and I've been to several African countries, but yeah. I know I have relationships. And what I'm saying is that I get people all the time crying to me about, they're worried about their children's future. They're worried about their future because it might sound sad and depressing, but a lot of people that's living in these African countries, they don't have a future. See, you or I or people in the comment section, if they come to Africa, they can run back to America. They have a safe haven. These people are trapped there, and they don't have opportunities. They don't have any opportunities.
Well, that's why people like myself,
we need to bring that to the forefront.
I go back to my home country, and
But Peso Man, do you think
to create the opportunity?
I'm sorry, because I was going to say this, Peso Man, and I know you probably disagree, but I think part of the problem, and this is my opinion, is that because I've been doing heavy research on this idea of poverty, right? Where did it come from, right? I get real philosophical. Me and Jose, like I said, on our show, Gas Them Up. You can watch past episodes. Just type it in. You'll listen to some of our shows. We get real philosophical and metaphysical and all that. Of course, we're still in the real world. We're not just telling you to rub, crystals on your chakra. You still got to pay your rent. But at the end of the day, I do believe that what we're calling material poverty is part of the problem, and we have been able to define for ourselves how we want to live. So part of it is that this lifestyle is marketed not just to Africans, but Africans are abused by that, but to us in the West, right? So just on any YouTube, you're on YouTube every 5 seconds, you got an ad. Hey, you want to make money in commercial real estate? You want to start trading stocks? Stop being a bum. This. And we're just bombarded with this stuff. And the truth of the matter is that you look at a guy like Elon Musk who will tell you hard work, determination, and work hard in the free markets, yet he's the product of government intervention, right? These guys are all oligarchs getting pure market intervention, and they would complain about, unions. So look at Jeff Bezos and look at a lot of the contracts he's getting from the government, right, which is pure socialism, yet he doesn't want a union. And I'm not capitalist, socialist, or any of those things. But what I'm trying to say is that in Africa, and that's what I try to educate my African people on when I come across them, is say, listen, look, don't fall for the myth of America. Don't fall for the myth of Europe. Eat healthy, maintain your culture, drink a lot of water, right? Eat a lot of good vegetables. Now work together. If you work together, I say, look, there's a group in America, and I hate the stereotype, called the Mexicans. The Mexicans work together. You got a group in Europe called the Gypsies. They work together. They travel together as a family.
They're not going to listen.
So I know they're not going to listen. I know they won't. But what I'm saying is that it's my duty, in my opinion, as someone who has seen the fake magic of the European man, to say, oh, no, he don't have no magic. He just has an organized system. And unfortunately, our governments refuse to have an organized system because many of them are in pockets of these European men that we come from in their countries. So for me, I'm not going to go to the village and tell those village people, you bum, you this, work hard. No, I'm going to tell them, listen, man, work, save your money, but eat healthy, man. Enjoy that apple. Enjoy that fresh vegetable. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy that fresh air. Enjoy taking a walk because it actually helps your heart and your lungs. But work with your family to start a family business and keep your wife and your daughter working in the business so they don't have to be in Lagos Island trying to go to Dubai so some Arab dude can shit in her mouth. Excuse my language, right? You get what I'm saying? So I'm just saying we're not doing that, Peso, man.
Most of these people can't even survive on their own in their own country. They can't pay their rent. They can't buy food.
Okay, well, I mean, I think you have a
the whole
wrong
9 yards. So
I think you're looking at it from an American point of view, though, because
I'm
again,
not,
the village people.
I'm not looking at anything from an American point. I'm looking from a pragmatic. I'm looking from it from a basic.
Okay, well, let me just add to the conversation then, because what you're saying about paying rent and such, they can't survive on their own. These people in the villages don't pay rents. They don't pay rent. They live in their family compounds. They grow food on their land.
We're not talking about people in a village, sir. There's more than just villages.
And the people who live in the city, they have family in the village as well too.
But Peso, man, 50% to 55% of Africans are in the villages. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that, Peso, man? 50 to 55% of Africans are actually in the villages.
And Peso, man, the people who live in the city have family in the village that they go back to.
Let's go with your premise. 50% of the people living in a village. That means that these villages are pretty much undeveloped, correct? They're undeveloped, right?
Undeveloped in
undeveloped according to the Western metric of development. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
According to a Western metric of development, yes, I agree.
The majority of the people can't survive, which is false.
They
survive just fine. They grow their own food. They have clean drinking water. They make their own clothing.
Well, Peso Man has a point though. I think Peso Man has a point because when you look at, for example, northern Nigeria and climate change, a lot of those things are being affected. So people in the village can no longer enjoy that village life, right? That we're talking about. And that's what I'm saying. We educated ones can't just be walled off in the cities, chilling and eating jollof rice and flying down in fast cars. We got to think about that because that village life is being disrupted on a daily basis. And so how are we going to talk to them about, clean technologies? Right? How are we going to talk to them about these things? Because many of them are trying to say, you know what? Look, I got to leave the village or I'm going to take up arms Hence, you got herdsmen and Boko Haram and things
You
like
know,
that.
I
So
would say
I think
I
Payson
don't
has
know
a
much
point.
about I
I'm
don't know much
preaching,
about Nigeria. I know about Uganda, and you know, I have my 40 acres of land of my ground from my ancestors that I grow my food on. And
you
there's many
said
people I know who
you
have
have
the same.
40. You said you have 40 acres of land. You have 40 acres of land, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you give 20 of those acres to somebody else?
Well, you don't know if I'm doing that or not. I don't like to put
I'm
my
asking
business
you.
out there.
Why don't you? I doubt if you are. I seriously doubt if you are.
I don't
But
want to put my
but
business
why
out
don't you
there,
get
bro.
why don't you get those 20 because you want and you know and there's nothing wrong with you not giving them
I
20
mean,
acres.
but Peso man, Peso man, who's giving away acres of land here in America? Like, why is it mandatory for him to give 20 acres of land to
But
somebody?
didn't I just say? I just said he didn't have to give those acres away. But my point is, this guy's preaching this utopia, this and that. You can do this,
No,
you
no,
can
no.
do
I'm
that.
not saying it's a utopia. I'm just
Then
saying
why
that the
don't you give
premise.
20?
I'm just
Why don't
saying
you
I
give
disagree
20
with the
acres
premise.
of your land to
I'm saying I
some
disagree with
people
the
that don't
premise
have
of
nothing,
what you're saying is
that don't
that
have anything?
the majority of people can barely survive, and I think that you're illustrating a falsehood by saying that, because there's
That's
many
not
people who
falsehood.
survive.
I see it. I
There's
see it
many
every
people who can
day.
survive just
I'm in
fine in the
Uganda too, sir.
villages.
Sir, I'm in Uganda too. I'm in Uganda too.
Okay, cool.
Surprise, surprise. I'm in Uganda too. I see it every
Okay.
day. So you
You're
can't run that.
probably just in
You can't run
Kampala or
that
something.
BS
You're
by
not even
me.
in.
You
You're
cannot run
probably
that
just in
BS by me,
Kampala and you're
bro.
seeing people in the streets. But
You
I'm
cannot
talking
run
about.
that BS by me.
Okay.
I'm coming with the
I
real.
Um,
think Peso man
can
I'm
I
and
say
coming with
you
the
something?
guys
real.
have a city and a rural. There's a
I'm coming
city and
with
a
the
rural
real.
divide that's occurring.
I'm
So
coming
Peso
with the
man, would you
real.
say that your perspective is more of a city urban plight,
No.
which is real and it's happening?
It's an African thing because I've gone to the villages too, and those people
Really?
have dirty clothes, poor drinking
Okay. So
water,
he's just
poor
ad
drinking
hominem.
water,
Ad
and,
hominem.
and,
He's
and
not
they
saying
and they
anything that
barely
has any value.
surviving too. They barely surviving
Peso,
too.
you're not saying anything that has any value. You're just using ad hominem. Dirty
No,
clothes
I'm not
is
using.
Exactly.
irrelevant.
How am I using am hominem text if I said somebody is not surviving?
Okay.
How am I using
Look,
am
what the
hominem
peso
attack?
sees is what we all have to see. That's the point.
No. Africans need to come to the realization that they doing bad, that the continent is doing bad. Because, like I said once before, and I don't want to hear this. For example, this is one of the excuses that you guys have. That Africa is a developing. We only 50 years old. We only had our independence. XYZ. Let me ask you this question: Dubai built a city in a matter of what 10 years? Where's the
Well, I don't agree with that premise that
where's
Africa's
Africa?
developing.
Where's Africa? No. I'm just asking. I'm asking from a building perspective. Where's a infrastructure perspective? Where's Africa's Dubai?
Well, there's pockets that you can find in every country that
You
has
got
a similar.
46. You got
Well,
46.
okay, wait,
You got
Peso, you've been
46 countries.
Peso man.
You got
You asked
40.
a
Hold
question.
on.
Can you let someone answer it?
Can I make my statement before
You
you
asked a
butt in?
question though,
Statement or
unless there was a
question?
Can I make
rhetorical
my
question.
statement before you
Statement
butt
or was
in?
the question?
Can I make my
Well, you
statement?
said
Then you can
where's
talk.
Africa's
But
Dubai, and I'm
can I
saying
make
that
my
there's
statement first,
pockets.
sir?
No, you can't
God,
actually, because
goddamn,
you made something. You made a
you won't
false
even let
statement.
me finish. You
Yeah,
won't even
I won't
let
let
me
you
finish
The
finish.
making my
question
I
be
won't
statement.
let you
answered.
finish because you made
I
a
You won't
mean,
false
even let me
statement.
finish making my statement.
Peso.
Well, please
We
let
should
him
just let
land.
him
Please let him
finish.
land.
We should just let him
Hold on,
finish.
one mic, Peso. Are there people with dirty clothes here in America?
Huh? Say that
Are
again.
there people with dirty clothes here in America?
Of course they are, but what's and okay, there are dirty people there, but we're
The
talking about Africa.
average age
Hey,
in
Can I?
Peso, let me know where
Africa
you are
is
Which,
17
let me
which
know where you're
years.
in Uganda, Peso, so I
let
can
me ask you this question. Let me
drag
ask
you
you
out
this
of the
question,
country
Dinus.
myself.
Let me ask you this question, Dinus. Let me ask since y'all always want to revert back to America. Let me ask you this question, Dinus, right now. And I know you're gonna try to jump around it, sidestep it right now, which we already know the
Oh
answer
my
because
God.
you're sitting in America right now. Why don't you pack up all your stuff right now, even though you can afford to live in Africa? Why don't you pack up all your stuff and go live in Africa for good?
I'm not going to. My son is here, so I can't.
Now your son can come visit you. Your son
And
can
he
come
can't.
visit
No,
you.
he can't. No, Peso. He can't. It's
So
called. It's
Peso man,
Your
no.
son can come
That's the
visit you.
thing.
Hey,
You
Hold
act
on.
like
Your son
you
can
act
come
like
visit
dual
you.
Let me finish
citizenship
my
doesn't
statement.
Your
exist.
son can come
One
visit
want
mic.
to
you.
One
answer
mic.
that
You will
question.
not.
I
You will
want
not
to
have
answer
me
that
now.
question.
One mic. I can't. It's called the child family court system. I can't.
I want to answer that question.
I mean, hold on, Peso. Did you understand that? It's called the child family court system. I can't.
Hey, can I jump in?
No, hold on, Peso. Is that? Do you understand, Peso?
Yeah, I understand what you just said.
Yeah, it's called the child family court system. I can't. But go ahead. Whoever's next, go ahead.
So wait, just Peso, to answer your question about the Dubai, there are pockets in Africa that have developed first class modern infrastructure as well too. I just don't like this image that you're trying to paint as if Africa is a complete failure. I mean, I think it's good to also acknowledge the positives we have as well too, just so that we don't get into this mind state of.
But Kabaka, do we need? I mean, I'm fine with a village over a Dubai. Like, why do we always use Dubai as the template, or Brussels, or some European city? Like, why do we need that as our template for development?
It's the consumerist.
That's a good point, but
consumerist urban culture.
And you realize Dubai got that way through slave labor, right? Like Dubai's not a utopia either. It's actually one of the worst cities. Their plumbing
That's true.
is
There's a lot
horrible.
of
They
poverty in
need
Dubai.
tanks to clean their sewage. They're not the best.
There's a lot of poverty in Dubai. That's true.
The error that Peso makes, and I don't know if we hear it, is he's talking consumerist urban culture. So yeah. Africa's failing. Africa's failing because there's no grocery shop on every block. Right? Africa's failing. And error number 2, future perspective. The whole world is aging. The whole world has an aging problem except Africa. The average age is 17 years old. What does that mean? People going to marry, they're going to live in a house, they're going to they're going to need clothes, they're going to need food, and I want to answer the question that he posed to Dynast, and I'm gonna act as if he asked me. Okay, why am I in the Netherlands? Because of the defeated mindset in Africa. Yes, you are right. People want to leave. Not all, most don't want to leave, but a lot, too much, want to leave. They want to leave the urban area to the city because they watch us. They watch us on the television, in video clips or whatever, but also on social media nowadays. We only send pictures. We only share pictures when we're having a birthday or whatever. We don't send pictures when the boss is yelling at us at work or whatever.
Can I also add?
So now we with social media, we have become our mindset with our lost mindset. We have become the sickness that makes our people back home feel defeated, right? So why am I in the Netherlands? In the Netherlands, I can sustain 2 complete families.
Can I also add?
With practically nothing, and when I'm there, people drop their I encounter a woodworker. He makes beautiful work with practically nothing, right? My slogan here in Netherlands used to be building skyscrapers with a stick and a stone. I come to Africa and people literally do that. They build skyscrapers with a stick and a stone. And then I say, hey, yo, I want to work with you. I want to sell the furniture that you make in Europe. And he lays down his work and he waits for me because now he has a boss. Now he has a job. Well, he was this god, right? So it's the mind state that I am here. I am still here and have not decided to go over there. I have children over there, but I am never going to take them over here. They are going to stay there, away from the LGBTQ at schools, away from all the bullshit. So yes, my family is staying there because soon enough, as soon as I think people over there are ready to work with me shoulder to shoulder and build up Africa, I will move. I will drop everything here. In fact, I dropped everything in 2012 to move over there. When I didn't realize that the people were as defeated as you sound, Mr. Peso.
Sir, I'm not defeated. Let's get one thing straight. I'm being honest. No, you're delusional. You're delusional. Because, like I said once before, I'm gonna say it before I was
So
rudely
Africa has no
interrupted.
future. I'm
It's
delusional.
like, yeah, you're pretty delusional, like most Africans are. But like I was
Yeah,
saying once before,
of
I'm gonna
course.
say this
There's
one.
no tomorrow. There's
I'm gonna
no
say this
tomorrow.
one
Africa's
time.
done.
I'm gonna
Africa's
say this one
history.
time. I'm gonna say this one time. Africa has the same. They have grass, dirt, gravel, just like any other country on this planet. Why don't they have rail systems? Because they can get it from China now. Why haven't they sent, let me just ask you this question. Why haven't they sent, and maybe I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure gas him up, he knows everything, he can tell me. Why hasn't all these countries built some kind of think
You a
tanks?
funny guy, man.
All
Why
right.
hasn't
Hello.
most of
I'm
these
gonna answer
countries?
the
Well,
question.
hold on, well,
Let me
guys,
answer the
I'm trying to
question.
hear, I'm trying to hear Peso's comment. Then we're going to pass it to Chrissy. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Peso.
I
Finish
mean,
your comment.
these guys won't even let me talk. Why hasn't these guys
Okay.
come up in any of these countries, any of the 46 countries in sub-Saharan Africa? Why haven't these guys got a group of smart people? That goes back to my gun technology theory. Why hasn't these guys grabbed a group of some of their brightest and smartest guys in their country? Why haven't they went over to China and started learning this technology for these high speed, high rail systems? Because that would be a total game changer. Why haven't they did that? Why? Because they have low IQ. I'm done.
Kenya and Ethiopia have a rail system, and Nigeria is currently building their rail system. I don't think you're educated enough on Africa.
Who is it fun? Who's building it? Who's building it? Who's building it?
They're help. The Chinese
No,
are
no, no.
helping.
Who's built the Chinese people? I rest my case. Please be quiet.
The Chinese people are helping, but in the end of the day, they're still African workers and African managers who are managing the project.
Everywhere where I go, I hear this limit of 15% of
And let's do this, guys. Let's do. Hold on, one mic. Go ahead, Chrissy. Unmute yourself, Chrissy.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm actually just joining, just started listening not too long ago. I haven't heard all of the arguments. Up until the point I just heard Mr. The Peso man talk about low IQ. I was with him on a lot, and then I heard that. I said, oh, okay, I see why folks are kind of disagreeing with him. But I'll just stand on my own accord. I think that, you know, in the Pan-African space, we having hope is important. Having positivity is important. Seeing the future potential of Africa is all important. But one thing I notice about us, and just as Black people, period, we tend to not. We don't want to look at the underbelly, and the underbelly is ugly, right? So the idea to say that people are leaving their home because they're just defeated, when many of us are either in a Western country or living a higher standard of life than the people that we're talking about, is a little disillusional. You know, when we talk about poverty, Peso Wright was right on this. Food, right? In your belly. Access to clean drinking water, right? That is a standard across the board. So you're not getting cholera. So you're not the ability to afford access to healthcare, so you don't have to die at home because you can't afford it. That's across the board. That's not a perception of poverty and how we see poverty. You know what I'm saying? So many of the places that you're talking about, and I haven't been to as many African countries, I've been to about 3, but I remember being in Guinea and in the countryside, young women who look old and aged because they've worked so hard to the bone. You understand what I'm saying? They're not having the quality of life. They know that. People are not just looking at social media and saying, oh, I want the next iPhone, so I'm going to risk my life and hop over to Italy and potentially drown in the water because I want the latest iPhone. Let's not be in denial. As Black people, we don't like when the truth is ugly about us, right?
Right. That's
Africa
exactly right.
is not where it should be, right? So let's not make pretending like it's just a
According to whose
perception.
metric?
And these guys
According to the
want to
people who
defend.
live
They just
there,
want to defend this crap. They
according
want to
to the
defend this
many
crap.
of the
Y'all are
people who
sick.
live there.
Yeah, but I
My
live
family,
there.
can
You
I
can't.
finish,
I
please?
live there. That no. See, that's a false narrative.
Let
I
me
live
finish.
there.
Guess what?
I
Okay.
do business
They got
there.
guys. They got guys.
I think
They
that's
got
part
guys
of the
swimming.
problem.
They got guys swimming in feces in Nigeria. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
There are areas
Oh my God.
in
Dynast, can
Africa,
I
and
say
I'll
something?
throw the Caribbean in there as well, right? Where people are really suffering, where they go to bed with a hungry belly. All right. From the my husband's from West Africa. From the West Africa side, they're not as bad as some other people because they have a pretty decent standard of living. But there are people, even in Ghana, who are not doing well. But there are people everywhere not doing well. I'll take Ivory Coast,
But
where
Chrissy,
I've
you
been
don't
to.
put these things in context.
What is the
You guys
context that
don't
I'm
put these
missing?
things in historical context. Let me tell you again. In 1960, for example, you ask any elder African in those
Mm-hmm,
days, in 1940s, 1950s, people would leave Lagos and go to their village and come back with plenty.
mm-hmm,
When did the villages, and I've said this on Dinah's platform before, make the village great again? When did the villages stop being a source of renewal and become a source of drain for
mm-hmm,
Africans? We don't ask those
Hey, gas them
questions.
up.
So
Hey,
again, as diasporan Africans, hold on, let me finish. As diasporic Africans, we are in many instances city and urban folk. So
okay.
when we come to Africa, we presume that African existence is city and urban. When the truth of the matter is, Africa's
It's in the
the
villages.
so-called glory days that we talk
Mm-hmm,
about with Africa, whether it's Mansa Musa and these other people,
right.
these are all village-based, communal-based economic endeavors.
Mm-hmm,
So I'm not saying that we can go back in time. Of course not. But I do think you have to put that in context. Nobody in 1960 in Africa was starving and hungry because you could literally go out in your land and grab some food and get some fish and
mm-hmm,
farm and do those things. Slowly over time, those avenues to escape urban systems have been, eradicated. So, like I
mm-hmm,
said, climate change is real. You do
mm-hmm,
have an overall mismanagement of the government. That's real. You do have
right.
structural adjustment programs that were implemented on Africans. That's real. So, no
Mm-hmm,
one's saying that that's not happening today where people are suffering and hungry. Yes,
mm-hmm.
but it's not just intrinsically an African thing. This is something that is manufactured.
Oh,
And that's all I'm
absolutely.
saying
I
is
agree
that,
with
yeah,
that.
you're right. But let's not act like it's not a manufactured
Oh
thing. So
no,
when I say the
yeah.
idea of poverty or the idea of, go ahead.
Yeah, and the thing is, I didn't, as I said, I came in late. I heard the
Yes,
conversation late. I don't know if that's what was said before. It is not an intrinsically African thing. It is manufactured because many of the African currencies in the 60s rivaled that the US dollar, right? So it has been manufactured where we've kind of been, in many ways, forced to pedal backwards. But I'm just talking about what the condition is today. Why people are leaving today has very little to do with many
100%
people.
mental.
I'm sorry?
The
Well,
reason
hold on,
people
Chrissy.
leave
Hold on,
today
Chrissy. Chrissy.
is
It,
Finish
it,
your statement. I'm
100%
gonna pass it to
mental.
Latoya. Go ahead, Chrissy.
No, I'm not saying it's meant. My point is that people are not just watching iPhone and say, "Oh yeah." Of course, you have people like that who say, "Oh yeah, I want to go," but the masses, I would say, the masses of people who are trying to leave are leaving for real concerns. One thing I did hear Pessoman said that I agree with. Now, there's some other things I've heard just a moment I don't. He said people come to him worried about their children's future, and I get that, right? Because you can have degrees, plurality, and cannot get a job, right? You can have degrees and cannot, the paycheck can't match. The paycheck cannot get you to the next paycheck. You know what I'm saying? I have family myself who calling, oh, school fees can, what I can do because the paycheck can't get them to the next week. That's real. That's not something that is in somebody's idea or their mentality. They're real things that are happening
But does
in
everybody
many
stay
real
there when they
ways.
leave?
yeah,
What about the statistics on the people who go
Okay,
back?
okay. Well, hold on. Hold on. Let's pass it to Rokoya. Go ahead, Rokoya.
greetings to everyone. I had to come on and I need to address some of the anomalies that are being presented here as actual facts. And I'm addressing directly to Pesserman, and I want to respond to some things that Chrissy is saying. First of all, the issue of poverty is global. So when you're addressing issues of poverty in Africa and trying to make that the narrative, rather than the fact that poverty is a side issue of underdevelopment generally in Asia, in America, where there are poor people in Mississippi and Louisiana and things like that, you are giving a fallacy, a false narrative. So Africa alone is not the purveyor of poverty. So I need to address that. But I want to talk about
No,
underdevelopment
nobody. Hey, we're
because
not talking about any
listen
other
to
countries
me,
now.
listen. Because when you start talking about the lack of infrastructure in
Don't use
Africa,
other countries. Don't use other. You
I
all
am going to
Africans.
talk to you
Africans
about
always
Africa.
want to
Would
make
you
that
please
excuse.
listen,
And let her
sir?
finish,
I'm in
You
man.
always
Ghana
want to
right
make that
now.
excuse.
Peso,
You're an
let her finish.
African.
Peso, come on, brother, let her finish.
You need to let me speak. I was quiet when you were talking. The point I'm making is this: if you don't understand underdevelopment itself as a phenomenon, you're just going to be pointing at symptoms rather than problem. And I want to school you on what underdevelopment it means in Africa. And this can cut across all of Africa. First and foremost, you have to understand the economies that built Africa pre and post colonialism was based on extraction of resources.
That's
African
right.
street roads were built to extract minerals and extract raw materials to get them out of ports into Europe. This happened for hundreds of years. So you have cities that have evolved around areas of extraction. The economic underpinning of Africa will not change in 50 years. It will change in hundreds of years when our economies turn from being extractive economies into economies that are intrinsically looking at the African and his condition. Until Africa stops becoming a source of gold, cotton, oil, and all that, it will never change because the infrastructure you lay in a country for extraction may not necessarily be responding to the development needs of the people itself. You talked about lack of roads and places in Africa. Sure enough, you will not put a road in a place that does not create resources that need to go to Europe for you to create foreign exchange to build capital. Most of you talk about Africans leaving and dying in the ocean. You know why? It's because they're chasing capital. Africa does not build the capital because its resources go to create capital in the West. And if you don't have capital, you can't build a house. You can't educate your children. You can't build industries. You can't invest in your own business. So the only reason it's not that Africans turn their backs on their countries. They understand that where the money is in Europe. So they're going to go for it to build their countries. And this is the world system. So stop talking about Africa as if we are brain dead. We understand
Can I
that it
respond after
takes
she
50,
finished?
we have 50
Can
years.
I respond after
Listen,
she finished?
from
And
19
Dynasty,
from
Can I
1980
respond after she
to,
finished? Because I'm gonna
I want
cook
to
up.
say something to correct these people. In 1980, only
All I want to do is
38% of Africa, Ghana, I'm in Ghana right now in Accra, it only had 37% of electrification. Go on Google now. Ghana has 85% electrification. That means 85% of all of Ghana has electricity, which is a beginner, an energy creator to create the factors, the centrifugal factors that lead to development. So when you're talking about things and taking them out of context, and you don't understand that the very system that you are creating and then accusing is the system that is putting Africa in the place it is in the first place. You want to see roads, you want to see hospitals, you want to see all kinds of things that for you indicate that we are developed. Well, it will not happen until you stop being also on the other side expecting that African resources are giving you access to cheap phones. You want to have 2 cars in your garage, in your garages in the US. That takes
Preach,
African resources.
preach,
If your Western people
I
are
agree.
willing to change your lifestyles, you want to have richness in your countries, it is at the cost of Africa.
preach.
So please, people, you need to understand
Asha,
what makes Africa underdeveloped. And it isn't for the lack of the African trying. It is because we have a situation that has happened in hundreds of years. Yes, you can say, what have you done to change it? It took guts for Africans to say we want to be independent. Yes, they are not perfect. Yes, they have not created the perfect systems, but they know what to do and they're doing it. And you need to look at the indicators one by one. How many road system and networks have been laid? How many hospitals have been built? I just gave you an example of Africa, of Ghana. In 30 years, 85% of Ghana is electrified. That is resources that have been diverted. So I really get angry to hear people like you anecdotally talk about Africans based on your own lack of full research.
Preach.
And I end like this.
Can I speak now? Can I speak now?
That's the daughter of Osagyefo. Daughter of Osagyefo.
That's a good one.
Well, Mike. So everyone, we have 430 people watching. I need you to go to documentary.searchforwho.com or just search for who.com. And guys, buy the documentary. Again, I need you to buy the documentary, guys. If you're watching this, I need you. If you have not bought the documentary already, make sure you go to searchforwho.com or documentary.searchforwho.com and buy the documentary, everyone, if you have not bought it already. You go and get the documentary, everyone. It's available online, live stream. You can live stream it from any device. Once you pay for it, you create a login, you just log in and you just stream the documentary on any device that you want to. Unlimited. Yeah, you have unlimited. It's yours forever. All right, so go to searchforwho.com and buy the documentary. I greatly appreciate it. All right, Peso Man, go ahead.
Okay.
Dynast, that's the daughter of Osagyefo, man. You got to throw some respect on her name. That's the daughter of Nkrumah right there.
Can I talk now? All right, thank you. Once again, Africans are always making excuses for their country. Always. That needs to stop. You need to face reality. And also, you keep talking about how
what's going
America
on?
needs.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Africans are always complaining about Europeans doing this, Europeans doing that. You have your own sovereign country. You need to start taking responsibility. Your leaders, your so-called leaders, get on planes and go to European countries to get treated for illnesses. That shows the lack of stewardship. Also, we're not going to talk about, look, you keep saying that your country has just gotten its independence 30, 40, 50 years ago. Whose fault is that? That's Africans' fault. When Europeans were in their countries developing ships and all kind of other things, what were Africans doing? We
were building empires with Mansa Musa. We were doing some of the largest intra-African trade. We didn't have to build ships. We didn't have to do that, Peso Man.
Because you don't have anything now.
No, we weren't building what the European wanted us to build.
Mansa Musa talk. We need to stop with that bull crap.
We weren't building what the European wants, and that's the problem, Peso Man. You're an African, but your entire existence.
First of all, you're very triggered. You're very triggered. Number one, because you won't shut up. You always butting in people's when people's trying.
No, that's armchair psychology. It doesn't work on me. It doesn't work on me.
If Africa is so
great, leave him. He's fine, but that doesn't work on me.
If Africa is so great, won't you stay your behind in Nigeria forever? You won't.
I'm in Nigeria, but I'm in Nigeria.
No.
You don't say that to the Israeli Jew. Hold on, wait a minute. He doesn't say that to the. He wouldn't say that to the Israeli Jew. You wouldn't say that to the Israeli Jew who travels all around the global world doing business. You, sir, you would never say that. You would never say that. You would never say that to an Israeli Jew who travels the world doing global business. You would never say that to them. So don't be mad at the African doing global business.
Because Israel is pretty damn developed.
Because America.
Okay, great. It's not developed. It's not developed. I'm not worried about that, Peso Man.
So stop deflecting, sir. Africans love.
No one deflected, Peso Man.
Y'all love to make excuses. Y'all love to.
Okay, great. At the end of the day, Peso Man, we got what we got.
It is trash. It is
Peso man, it's like,
trash.
listen, if you got an ugly girl at the prom, you got an ugly girl at the prom. Only thing you can do is step her game up and make her a dime piece. Are you gonna keep crying? Are you gonna keep crying?
Oh Lord.
Or are you gonna help out?
First, no, I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear none of that. Most of the people in Africa live in abject poverty. We need to solve that. And you know what?
Okay, great. And people are on the ground trying to do that.
But here's the crazy thing: you're not gonna be able to solve it. You're not gonna be able to solve it because you know why? Because you know why? You don't have enough guns. You don't have enough guns. You don't have enough guns.
Okay, Peso man, listen, this is a global
revolution in
listen,
Africa. Is
hold
that
on.
what you want?
Wait, listen. This is a global black people. Peso man.
Your way out of it.
I listen, Peso man. I don't tie my life to European ideals and standards as best as I can. Right? So a lot of times you guys will, but you're using the white man's internet and all this other stuff. At the end of the day, I try my hardest.
Because you live in America. Yes, you do. So I don't want to hear
Actually, I did it. The IMF did that. Your government funded the IMF and created structural adjustment programs that messed up my government's ability to be sovereign. So
you're faking it.
I'm fine. I can be faking than a $2 bill. That's great. These are armchair psychology tidbits that don't have any bearing on me. The point of the matter still remains. You can say we're low IQ, and that's great. And I support a lot of what you say in terms of, showing the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm not here to glamorize anything. I don't want anybody to get screwed over. However, it is what it is. We got the people we got, and we got to make the best. If we got lemon, we got to make lemonades. I'm not going to sit there and cry. Listen, I'm on the ground, busting my butt. So I know what it's like to be out there in Africa hustling, getting. I'm not just some American that just flies in with a chauffeured car and a housemaid. I'm in the buses. I'm going to and fro between Oshodi. I'm in the parts of Ajogunle where the Uber drivers don't want to come. You talking about the slums? You Google Ajogunle. You ask the Nigerians. Most of these Nigerians on the chat ain't coming to Ajogunle. So I'm out there. And I'm not no tough guy or anything like that. But at the end of the day, we got the continent we got. We know what the problems are for the most part. A lot of this comes from leadership at the top. There's not much that I and you can do about it, Peso man. If I bring you to Nigeria today and I say, listen, Peso man, this is the head of the local government and this guy is causing problems. You don't have the balls to grab the guns and put in the work. You ain't ready to do that because you know how I know you ain't ready to do that? Because you ain't going to do that back home in America. When them young boys is out there stepping, you ain't gonna go out there in America and step to them young boys. So you could talk to them Africans who don't know any better. I'm one of them Africans who know that. I'm out there in America too, in the same ghettos just like you. And I know you ain't going out there to talk to them young boys. Because them young boys will let you have it.
Can I ask you
Peso man, you know that for a fact. Them young boys will let you have it if you talking like this to them.
All I want to do is ask you one question. One question. Were you in the Nigerian military? Yes or no? Well, actually, it's going to be two questions. I'm
not answering any personal questions. That doesn't answer. It has no bearing. It has no bearing. It has zero bearings. If you are asking personal questions, the veracity of your intellectual argument is weak. If you need to find personal information about me, the veracity of your intellectual engagement is weak. You should be able to engage with me on the ideas alone. You don't need to know anything about me personally, Peso man. Listen, sir, this is not a courtroom. You're not gonna listen. You can do this for other people. Let me ask you a question. I'm answering your question. I'm answering your question.
Unless you answer that question.
Wait, hold on. Let me answer this question. Let me answer your question, Peso man. I'm trying to answer it.
Let him ask the question. Let him ask the question. Go ahead, got some up.
The answer to your question is: does your mama know you beat your wife?
See, now you're being stupid.
Exactly. You're not gonna trick me with them stuff, man. Like nobody was born yesterday. I was born that late, but not last night. That's not working. Don't ask me no simple questions. What's the veracity of your idea? If you cannot intellectually engage, then you shouldn't be on these spaces.
But you ain't.
You love to not come with strong intellectual arguments.
Hold on, one mic. Wife beat his wife. What are you talking about, Gaston?
I know he's silly.
Peso man.
He's silly. That's
What I'm talking about, Dynast, what I'm talking about, Dynast, is simple. What Peso Man is trying to do. Can I respond to Dynast if that's okay, sir? What I'm trying, what Dynast, what he's trying to, man, can I respond to Dynast? Yes, you're right. That's good. I got diarrhea of the mouth. Can I respond to Dynast?
I'm trying to figure out.
Okay, the point, the reason why I said that is it's an old legal trick, right? Actually, it's a great book you guys can read by, I believe, Keenan Ball, about the tricks that lawyers do. It's called Reptile by Keenan Ball. Google it. Really, it's like $800, man. You got to be a lawyer to actually get the book, but on Amazon, it's $800. But these are these legal tricks that lawyers do. So what they'll do, they'll get you on the stand. They'll ask you a question. Does your mother know you beat your wife? Does your family know? So if you say yes or no, you've already admitted guilt that you beat your wife. So Peso Man's trying to lead me on to saying, have you served in the Chicago military? What does that have to do with the veracity of the argument? This is an intellectual space. I don't need to know what Peso Man ate for dinner to have a strong intellectual engagement. And that's what Peso doesn't understand. Brother, learn to read footnotes.
One mic. But Peso, okay, so Peso, why did you ask him if he served in the military? I've never served in the military anywhere.
He's been in
I
military.
already know. First of all, I already know the answer. I already know just by listening to this fool. I already know the answer. But the reason why I asked him the question, because he loves running his mouth, talking about somebody's not about that life, this or that, or you gonna pick up a gun. And I know this fool is probably one of the most softest niggas in the world. He ain't finna pick up no gun either.
I am soft, but guess what, Peso? I've actually been in law enforcement. You're right. I run my mouth, but guess what, Peso? Funny enough, I've been in law enforcement. But no way, Jose, he's so silly, he doesn't even realize I've been in law enforcement. I've been APO certified. If you've been in law enforcement, you know what APO certified means.
Peso has served the U.S. Army. He's hard.
Peso, if you understand what APO certified means, anybody who's been in law enforcement will know what I'm talking about.
You love
talking. Oh, so you see, Dynast, you see what he did? I just told him that I've been in. I just told him that I've been APO certified. Now he's trying to backtrack because what he thought was.
I'm lost because I know I can hold my own. I've never served in the military, so I don't know what that has to do with anything. Serving in the military, like I'm lost by that question. But go ahead, Peso. Go ahead.
I'm done. I mean, he refused to answer the question. I already knew the answer. But I mean, like I said, you said
you ain't the God to answer no questions, man. You just another guy on YouTube. So stop trying to come on here and lord authority.
About that life. You talking about people that are not about that life.
I said you ain't about that life. Exactly, because you coming to talk to Africans. You coming to talk to Africans about what they should do. You ain't gonna go.
Most definitely.
Peso, if I dropped you in the middle of Rivers State in Nigeria and told you clean up the mess, they would get rid of you in an hour. If I dropped you in the middle of East New York, if I dropped you in pink houses, they would get rid of you in an hour. Stop talking like you about that, man.
One person cannot clean up the mess. Now you being silly now. You being silly.
So that's the point. If one person can't clean up the mess, why are you sitting down there coming on these platforms talking junk about one? It doesn't make sense.
All right, we gotta move on. We gotta move on. I want to hear from some of the ladies. I want to hear from the ladies. We need some more feminine energy in here. All right, go ahead, Christy. Pass the Rokoya.
I don't really have nothing to say right now. I'm just hearing the back and forth. I think Gaston made a point. We have the Africa that we have. There's context to everything, which is true. Africa went through colonization. It had a different trajectory than Europe. Africa's development was interrupted. Europe's development was not interrupted. So I can't look at Europe, which was basically the parasite on Africa, and say, oh, the parasite's so fat and your body is so skinny, right? But, or in comparison, but I think we should be truthful about where we are currently. Let's not doll up something that shouldn't be dolled up. Yes, there are great parts of Africa, and there's a lot of poverty that we do need to contend with. Let's not start to intellectualize, the perception of poverty. We all know what poverty is. The basics, the basics that people need to sustain themselves. We have too many people who are in a position of poverty. We have too many young people who are, yes, just being young is great and there's potential in youth, but potential doesn't always get realized, right? If there is an opportunity, and young people will leave to seek that opportunity. So I just, just try to be more balanced, but I mean, that's all I really have to say.
And can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah,
Go
what I
ahead.
want,
Go ahead.
yeah, basically what I wanted to express to, I mean, everybody on the panel is that when we talk about development is actually policies that have, I mean, what we experiencing today are based on policies that were effected 30, 40, 50 years ago. And so the fact that we are living them now and making change is that the changes are going to be quite prevalent and observable in another 30, 40 years. And when you are a student of development, you can look at where Africa is going and can make certain projections about where we're going to land. Is there poverty, Miss Chrissy? There is absolutely poverty. But the poverty in Africa has to be contextualized by what is the African lifestyle itself. When you go to Africa and your definition is poverty, of poverty is people don't have food to eat, then you have to justify that and explain, because what is it that African people eat? African people can grow food everywhere. You go into cities, you go into rural areas. Everybody has a farm. So is there a hungry African? What is making that person hungry? Then we go to the God's mob, whatever his explanation of economies that in Africa were based of people having a dual lifestyle. They had families that they went to in the villages, they brought tomatoes, they brought all kinds of vegetables to the village to subsidize from the village into the cities to subsidize their living. And for a long time, this sustained Africans. But we had interventions by world organizations, and the real reason behind the collapse of African agriculture is because of Western systems from World Bank loans that tie the African into structural arrangements to recreate more colonization for the African. Now, does that mean the Africa is dumb? Absolutely not, because you have some brilliant Africans who are fighting upstream. But again, look at what I said earlier. If you had a system 50 years ago that supported extraction of stuff, let me give you a real example about why we have corruption in money transfers out of Africa. It is very simple. It is very easy for an official in Africa, based on the laws we inherited from colonial administration, to repatriate funds out of Africa. It happens like this in the banking system. So what you discuss as a corrupt behavior on African is based on a system that was built by Europeans to allow them to repatriate all the monies they made in Africa. So the banking system in Africa has minimal checks and balances to allow people to move money. So when African leaderships assume the role of leaders, when Europeans have left, they have a system that has not been corrected. Yes, you may ask me, and why haven't they corrected it? You might as well be asking me, why hasn't Black people in America all rejected European education? We know that it's
Sister,
American
may I react,
slave
sister?
teaching, but we still take it, because what I'm trying to tell you is systems don't crash immediately. You build from within and you coalesce and change the mindset. So what I'm saying is, for example, you can look at a banking system all over sub-Saharan Africa that was constructed to allow for the ease of funds to leave Africa to Europe, so that Europeans who were then our colonial administrators to repatriate their funds, Africans are just doing the same thing. So to stop that, the banking systems have to change. But do you change banking systems by making policy? No, you're going to cause major upheaval in industry. Your industries are going to say, we can't do this, we can't change overnight. Your education has to relate to that change. Your medical, everything must change to adapt to this new banking system. But if you don't understand it, you're going to only talk about Africans being corrupt. Is an African more corrupt than a Chinese? Is he genetically created to be a corrupt human being? Absolutely not. We can also say for the same thing as we talk about Africa, we can also say, why didn't African Americans all revolt and kill all white people that they were serving in slavery? They could have taken a day and killed them all off their masters off. But things don't happen like that. If you want to point your hands at Africa, you have to understand what has created the African system. And you look at them one by one. I gave you an example of how our road, even our cities, the cities that we call cities should never have been cities. Accra should never have been a major city because Accra does not support resources. And if you look at how every city in the world,
Preach, sister.
look at Katina, they were points of interaction of trade. People came there naturally to trade and exchange ideas. So a capital city should be in a location that can support that kind of exchange. But because colonial people were interested not in developing African cities based on the actual centrifugal forces that evolve into cities, they said, no, we're going to put it in Lagos. We're going to put it in Tema. We're going to put it in Accra. Because guess what? It is at the coast. And we can bring our ships and take things out. So a country like Nigeria has been bold. It has been, with wealth, built a new city in the middle of the country called Abuja. That is progress. But it's going to take 50, 100 years for you to see the results of that. If we're going
I
to talk,
completely agree with everything that you've said.
No, we
Okay.
must look at the things
Same here.
intellectually. I don't like people talking emotionally and making accusations. And so I listen and I say, look, you are only being half smart. Half of what you're saying is half dumb because you're not understanding something and you want to speak about it. You want to be an armchair specialist, like, Professor Man, saying all these things without fully understanding what you're saying. Does that make you look good?
Well, what
These are
I would
people
say
that don't
is
use
that
footnotes.
I
They haven't
completely
used
agree.
MLA,
Yes,
APA. They haven't resourced any of those things. They
I
just come on
completely
there
agree
and spout
with
CNN sound bites.
everything that you've said. The point I was making is about the poverty being perception. I talked about basic metrics, clean water, right? Food in your belly, right? Being able to have access to health care so that you don't have to perish because you cannot afford it. I was talking about the very raw basics of life, right? And we come from
Chrissy,
places
let me ask
But
you a
Chrissy,
question.
that's not the
there is a
definition of poverty.
for a large. I'm not saying they're not
Chrissy,
other
the
places. We're
definition
talking
of
about
poverty is
Africa,
$1 a
right?
day.
So that I'm not.
No,
I'm
but
not.
Chrissy,
I'm
the
not. I'm talking
definition of
about food in
poverty
your
is
belly.
$1.95 a day.
Okay, I'm not talking
Chrissy, go
about.
ahead and
If you
finish.
want to call the
You
white
are
man's
talking about food in
definition,
your belly. The
I'm talking.
definition of poverty is $1.95 a day.
Okay, that's not the definition I was going by. I never mentioned dollar a day.
May I ask Miss Rukoya a question? Miss Rukoya, thank you for enlightening me. You actually gave me a cold shower the past 5 to 10 minutes. I have a question for you. Democracy or one strong leader these 50 years? Which one? The 50 years that we need to get our minds straight, is that going to happen via democracy or via one strong leader that will maintain the wheel pointing at this goal?
Is that a question
Hey,
or because
let me jump in here.
I give away.
Have you heard of Lee Kuan Yew? And have you heard of Lee Kuan Yew?
I'm sorry. I gave away what would be my choice, but
okay, Lee Kuan Yew. The whole world said he was a dictator, but look how he built that country. So let's not go look at Lee Kuan Yew and look at Eritrea. Eritrea is written off by Western media as a dictatorship. Afewerki is a demon. Afewerki is bad mouth. But if you look at what is going in Eritrea, that man cannot go on the street without being mobbed by his people. That man is called a dictator, but Eritrea is growing. They say the same thing about Rwanda, but it's growing. So your question, you already know the answer. Western democracy, in my opinion, is not a system that does well in the African context, because you have to culturally place something in what is the tradition of the people. I am somebody who calls it by its name. Political parties, Nigeria, Ghana, what they're doing, it's really about just creating confusion.
Yes.
We're not going anywhere.
My
They're
question.
all basically sides of the same coin, and they're not able to move the countries because money is fed into the political process by people who should not influence policy. And when because of our political financing laws that are weak, when our leaders come into place, like in Nigeria, they have to pay up their godfathers who funded them. In Ghana, they don't have such a godfathering system, but it's almost as bad. So you can't have good energy policy in Nigeria, for example, because the people who fund the political parties, they make money off of supplying generators into every home. So no Nigerian the public power is held ransom by
My
people
question.
who now
My
have
question came
generators.
from. My question
We
came
have to
from
understand
experience
this
in
context.
Gambia.
That's all I'm saying.
So my question came from experience in Gambia. Yaya was taken away, and now it looks like lawlessness over there. People that I spoke with, they miss Yaya dearly, and
I'm telling you.
they are sorry for having to for being on
Africans
for
are easily
asking for them on.
manipulated because we don't read history, and then we find that we've been led like to the slaughterhouse. But anywho, the Africans like diners, the Africans like me, the Africans like others who are on the ground, and we are making change. So that's all I have to say.
Hey, can I touch on something real quick? I think that for the conversation, I don't know, is going a bunch of different ways, but I think at the end of the day, I think we could agree that it comes back to the leadership. It needs to stop being placed on, you know, when we have a Pookie and Ray Ray out here that goes and shoots, shoots somebody or something like that, and it gets placed on every black person in America. It's the same thing. We can't say, "Oh, Africa is struggling because African people have a low IQ." That just doesn't make any sense. There's plenty of smart people throughout each country, the whole continent, but they're not necessarily the ones that are running the show. It's the leaders that are bad, and we're not really looking at, obviously, I'm sorry, it was Okoye, I think it is Okoye. She touched on things that the IMF is doing, programs that were put in place a long time ago that they're still going by, and I don't think that we really understand the that is the main effect. It's not necessarily one person or the other. It's the fact that they're still going by these programs. They're trying to move closer to this so-called Western democracy, and those are the things that cause Africa to be in the place that it's been in. So, and even touching on what the conversation was originally about, or the name of the thing, it's the leaders' faults of these countries that things like what happened in Italy keep happening, because they're not educating and telling their people, what they're really going to look at. The people are going in blind. They might realize there might be some racism, or people might look down on us in different places, but they don't really understand the fullness of it. And it's because even in their systems, when they're being taught, they're still being taught about how great the European is, and all the things that they did. Hell, Lake Nyasa, in the Great Lakes region in Africa, is still called Lake Victoria. Why are these places still called, named after European people? And then you expect, the people of those countries, African people as a whole on the continent, to have pride in their continent, and their things aren't even named after them. They're named after Europeans. So at the end of the day, it's not on the people. Obviously play a role, because just like we need to globally, the people within those countries and the people on the continent in general need to speak up and say, hey, look, like, we can't do this anymore. If you're not going to be a good leader, if you're not going to do what you need to do for us, then you can't be in there, period. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to the leadership. They should be telling people. I said once on this panel before, I know somebody from Kenya that was thinking about going and taking a job in Saudi Arabia, and we already know, what kind of life that is or could be, but they're not educating their own people on it. They're not telling them that, hey, no, this isn't going to be some great thing. You're going to get a great job and be able to work and build. They're not telling them that, hey, you're going to think you're going over there and getting a job, and you're really just going to end up in slavery. So it comes down on the leadership. They're not speaking. They're not putting pressure on other people. I haven't heard the leader of Nigeria come out and say, "Hey, okay, well, look, we can't do business with you anymore, Italy. Until you do better, until you completely rectify this, any companies that you have here, you guys are gonna pay out to his family. You like something has to happen.
Preach.
You know, it's like they say that for every action there's a reaction, and the issue with us as a people globally is different things continuously happen to us. Actions are taken against us, but there's never a reaction. There's never anything that actually happens. Nobody ever takes actual steps and says,
Preach.
"Nah,
We has options.
we're not going to just forgive this." Exactly. All we do is we see things happen and we just forgive and forget, and then just try and act like, hey, maybe if you're a good old boy, maybe if you're really good, and if you keep your head down and you just work hard, things will be all right for you. And I'm not saying these kinds of things happen to every single person every single day, but I'm saying they happen way too often, and for the majority of the time, they happen with our people, and nothing is ever done about it, and especially with the leaders. The people that are supposed to be leaders aren't actual leaders, and we don't call that out, and we just allow them to just sit in office and do nothing.
Hey, brother, we're gonna go ahead and close out. Hey, everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family, make sure you go buy the documentary at searchforhuru.com. Until next time, family, Dynasty Mirror, search for Huru. Peace.